Good evening, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office. Welcome on this third day of January. Can't believe it. Feels like the year's going by fast already. But welcome, everybody. It's an honor that you're here tonight watching me again. I like doing these streams a little later because, well, it makes me the only one live streaming here, which is great. That means we can get a lot of people watching this stream and getting the word out to the people that need to get this out to, because what I'm about to show you is pretty concerning. So this is a look. Not the GOES, but the College of DuPage website. Satellite images are not working on for some reason through my internet protocol service. So unfortunately, we are going to have to switch over to the NOAA version of these satellite images with their provider. So that is why you're seeing this new layout a little bit. Yeah, I was up until like 5 in the morning working on this layout. So what we're looking at here is, of course, the Pacific Northwest, and you're probably wondering, why are we looking at the Pacific Northwest, David? Like, the system is going to be developing in the Midwest tomorrow. Well, things go from west to east all the time, but not always. But in this case, this is doing that. We got a lot of heavy rainfall that I witnessed today, and even some thunderstorms that developed on the west slope of the Sierra. Had some thunder snow, in fact, in some of these bands that went upslope, that orographic effect. And now things are drying out here in California. Yeah, it was a nice day, I would say. A nice day, well, depending on how you interpret that, a nice day to me is like some fog, some rain, nice good light rain that we had today, and some light winds. Well, if we had stronger winds, that would be even funner. But today was a nice day in my area with the rain, cooler temperatures. We barely hit 50 today, and the fog did not want to burn off very easily. Kind of stayed low to the ground, giving us that haze. The air is being mixed out by this westerly flow, so fog development tonight might be a little harder to do so, because the pattern is going to be changing. And then, of course, across the Pacific Northwest, we barely got freezing rain, actually. Was not able to really develop this afternoon across some of these areas, fortunately. So maybe only 0.05 of an inch of ice did accumulate. But this is a system, this energy that is going to be translating its way into the Midwest. So this is what it looks like in the Midwest tonight. And we have a couple of things going on. By the way, this dark terminator zone, that's what you see here. See how it's getting dark? And then we're switching over to infrared. That is IR satellite. Yeah, that's what it is, infrared. And what you see here is some low clouds. So there's moisture that is working its way from the south all the way to the north. So you can see these clouds doing this. There's some moisture transport. And then, well, towards the northeast on the other side of the country, interesting, we get storm, right? Kind of coast to coast, kind of unsettledness with the weather. We had some thunder snow today off of Lake Ontario. There was a lot of lightning at one point with a snow band that did develop there just south of, say, Watertown, New York. Wish I had a camera here to show you that. We'll check that in later on if we can. But yeah, had some thunder snow there this evening, all thanks to this colder air mass that is coming in out of the north. And you can see it here on the infrared. See these kind of gray, bright gray colors? That's the colder air coming in. And when you have a system that taps into that colder air, well, you get snow, you get freezing rain and sleet. And then when you get warmer air coming off the Gulf, a classic, what we call a Colorado Rocky Low setup, where you pull in warmer air out of the south and it meets this cooler air coming in out of the Pacific Northwest, out of Canada, things could get shooken up very quickly. And what I'm about to show you on the models, things will do so in a hurry. So this look at the latest, let me switch over to that. Yeah, with my new layout here, trying to learn it. I'm learning as I go. So looking at our National Weather Service current hazards here, interesting, I've been waiting really patiently, which is why this live stream was delayed initially. I was waiting to see if they were going to be able to put out some winter storm warnings in southern Indiana into Kentucky and southern Ohio tonight. They did not. So we're still waiting for them to issue that. Probably the morning crew, the morning people that get into their weather offices here will probably go ahead and issue those winter storm warnings, because what I'm about to show you, it's looking pretty dicey. We have winter storm warnings out already in this pink area over Kansas City. If you're in central Kansas, if you're in central Missouri over here, if you're in St. Louis, the archway to icy conditions, it's going to be pretty bad. Some sleet, snow, and freezing rain in the mix. And then down here, this is where we have a freezing rain warning. Actually, it's an ice storm warning. See, I get my words mixed up. I always like saying freezing rain warning. That's what it should be, an ice storm warning. Not so much, because, well, an ice storm warning means, well, we're going to have freezing rain. So a freezing rain warning, ice storm warning, however you want to word it, it's going to be pretty bad there. And we're expecting a lot of this Kentucky area to get filled in with these purple counties due to freezing rain. And we'll be looking at that here. But yeah, what a mess it's going to be. Not so much over the Dakotas. Yeah, Dakota's going to get a little lucky. Might get about a couple of inches, and that's all you're going to see with this system. But once cyclogenesis goes on over here, this system is going to explode very quickly. We did lose the... Did we lose the lake effect snow warnings? Did we? No, we do. We still have them right there. So we do have lake effect snow warnings. We did have snow squall warnings over here over portions of Erie, Pennsylvania, and western Pennsylvania today. Pretty crazy weather there. And then up here to the north, where you have wind chill, those are not wind chill advisories. That's cold weather advisories. So see, they're just changing things up for 2025 for us as weather forecasters. And then the blue, don't get that confused. That's extreme cold warning. These are replaced by wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings. Okay, so to make that easy for you all with how you extrapolate warnings. So let's go over to this. Is that the one that we want? Hold on a second. See, I'm figuring this out. All right, so I think it's this tab that we have to use. So that should be fine. Actually, you know what? It is this one. All right, sorry about that. So current temperatures right now, this is the RTMA data. So this is the real-time meso observations right now, or meso observations, that is, because we're taking more than just weather station data. And this is where the cold air is situated. So it's in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Canada. Boy, it is cold up here. Negative 20, negative 15 degrees up there. It's pretty nippy, if you ask me, and that's just your air temperature, your relative air temperature. But when we factor in our wind chill indexes, it's cold. It's very cold. We're at 35 to 45 degrees below zero. In some of these areas up here, like in Yellowknife, well, Yellowknife is north of this image, but it is cold, and all of this wind chill factors are going to be coming southward into the Midwest. And you're not going to like what I'm about to show you, what happens with this colder air. Okay, so it's going to get colder. Funny enough, it's actually be warmer tomorrow in Louisiana and southern Mississippi, because you're actually going to advect warmer air out of the southerly direction. So hey, you might get one more nice day before the temperatures change out there. So just for reference, the cold air is going to be a big story with this as well, but not as big in areas that we thought, but still big enough to where temperatures could get into the single digits into, say, portions of Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana. Maybe not negative temperatures, but what makes a difference if it's -1 or if it's 1 degree above 0? It's 2 degrees, doesn't matter. Cold is cold, and it's pretty serious. Okay, so let's go over to our modeling. And I wanted to show you all this because our 0Z models have come into fruition here, okay? And they're really aggressive. You're going to see some scary numbers here. And that's the world of having meso models with us. Okay, so let's go to our regional sector and let's look at our high-res models. Okay, this is what we call our CAMs, what we use for severe weather. But yeah, we can use it for other things like snow, heavy snow, or freezing rain, or sleet. So what you're going to see here is by tomorrow morning, this is right around about 9 or 10 in the morning, and there is going to be some freezing drizzle, maybe some freezing light rain at times. But this is not really when the system is going to develop yet. It's going to be more in the afternoon hours because this is subtle advection. This is subtle lift in the atmosphere. Most of the lift is buried back here towards Colorado, where we get that strong baroclinic isotropic jet that moves in, and we get isothermic lift moving over this colder air, helping to squeeze out the moisture. Okay, so because you can think of it right here, your winds are being pulled in like this right now. The tighter the gradient, the stronger the winds are going to be. But now it's really after about 6 in the afternoon for Central Time when the conditions are going to get really deteriorating. So let's put this into motion, and you can see how this system really, really explodes. And I want to see if I can get a sector here that views at least Kansas. No, it doesn't. So we're going to have to just look at the central U.S. sector here. But you can see, and this low gets deep pretty quickly, all right? And then within this, there's going to be freezing rain, right? How freezing rain works is, let's just take a sounding, and we're going to look at different soundings here. So we're going to first start looking, say, where it's raining, because people, that's important, right? Where it's raining, where the different precipitations are, types, we should say. This is one of everything. So when we look at a sounding, let me see if I can get this to align. I should have actually, let me use the full screen. There we go. That's probably going to be the best we can do. So the temperature profile here, so how rainfall works is your temperatures at the surface here are above freezing. So we don't get down below freezing at all. Okay, now this is a hard thing to forecast, and that's why forecasting exactly how much and where the freezing rain sets up is very tricky because of the temperature profile that's involved. But essentially, you start off with snow in the higher parts of the atmosphere, and then the snow reaches this warmer layer, okay, at 850 millibars. That's 5,000 feet above the surface. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to get sublimation. You're going to get snow turning into raindrops, okay? And then as long as the temperature at the surface is not below freezing, it will rain all the way down to the surface. It does not refreeze into ice, into a super chilled raindrop, okay? And so this profile is what we look for as far as rainfall, which is pretty common. It's one of the more common precipitation types in mid and lower latitudes. Unless you get to higher latitudes, snow is very common in the wintertime. But there's this battle zone where you get a warm front. Excuse me, I ate some burritos, so that's why. Not trying to burp here on the live stream. Okay, and so this red here is freezing rain, okay? And freezing rain is not like what you think it is, but what it is, it's almost like rain, but it's going to freeze upon hitting an object. So here's another vertical sounding showing us that up here, it's colder, it's below freezing, so you're gonna your precipitation type is going to be in the form of snow. Once that raindrop sublimates, and because it's going to reach the warmer temperatures, and some of these temperatures here in the mid levels are in the 40s, so that's pretty warm. So snow melts very easily. And then look at our temperatures. Our temperatures in the lower levels of the atmosphere, like right below 1 kilometer, are around the mid 20s. We're about 25 to 28 degrees. So what ends up happening now, it's not going to fall as snow to the surface. That raindrop is in liquid form, okay, once it moves through the warmer layer. And then what's going to end up happening is that raindrop is going to become super chilled. It's not going to what's the word am I looking for? It's not going to freeze in the air because, well, it's not cold enough for that. Instead, you need, in order for crystallization to form, you need a crystal nuclei in those raindrops, like dust, enough of it, or some particulate matter to get into that raindrop in the first place. And that's how you get, you'll be able to freeze water at around 32 degrees, as long as there's particles or a ice crystal nuclei to nucleus that, okay? But in this case, raindrops are likely to be pretty purified, so therefore you're going to get super chilled. So imagining liquid water in still liquid state below 32 degrees. It can exist as liquid form as low as about 26-ish degrees, 27. So once that raindrop hits, say, your street, your car, your mailbox, power lines, trees, your roof, okay, it freezes like that. It's flash freezing. Say that with me, folks. Flash freezing. That's when water turns into ice within seconds. Okay, and that's where you hear the term flash freezing, or you hear the term freezing rain. Okay, because the air is below freezing at the surface, and that droplet has had time to get down into the mid 20s or upper 20s, allowing for flash freezing to form upon hitting an object. So freezing rain here is going to be a problem. Now you're probably wondering, well, what is sleet, David? That's this purple area. So let's not get confused. This right here, and I'm going to type this up. Well, let me actually choose a different sector, because it shows up a little bit better right here, because you can see the precipitation types a little bit better, and then we'll actually talk about this part of the forecast here in a second. This is freezing rain right here. So freezing rain. So this is freezing rain. Actually, I'm just going to put that in one line so you can see that. That's freezing rain. This is sleet. Okay. So this is sleet and this is snow. And of course, we just talked about rain. So this is rain right here. So in this green color, very common. We get rain all the time, right? It's not the issue. This time with the rainfall, we're not going to likely see a whole lot of flooding. But it's these two precipitation types that have a lot of the attention. It's hitting news media. A lot of YouTubers are talking about this. Is this right here. These two precipitation types. Sleet and freezing rain. So you're probably wondering, what is causing this? So let's click on a sounding, say in St. Louis, Missouri, since a lot of people live over there and they're probably wondering. Let's click that. Let's see what we get. So what we end up having that is, your freezing line is a little lower. First of all, let me highlight this. Okay, so your freezing line is down here. So that's below 10,000 feet. Okay, so this is a deeper cold layer of the atmosphere. So what ends up happening is this column right in here, I didn't even do a good job highlighting that. Let me get my square tool out so we can see this a little bit better. So right about in here is where temperatures are above freezing. So in theory, when you get snowflakes, what we call dendrites, or snow, whatever they are called, scientific words, snowflakes. They melt, they sublimate into water, okay? In its liquid form, okay? And then it refreezes. These temperatures right here, this column, let me highlight this. Right about in here, that's 21 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 20 degrees even in the coldest pockets of the atmosphere. Okay, water's going to freeze undoubtedly with that, okay, because you're chilling the water down to so cold that it turns into a solid, regardless if there's nuclei or not. So before the raindrop hits the ground, it has turned and froze in the air. Sleet is not a big problem unless it really accumulates, okay? And so what you end up seeing is ice pellets. Say that with me, folks. Ice pellets. Okay, I want to be clear to not cause confusion here. Ice pellets. Okay. Ice pellets. It's not hail. It is not graffle or groffle. It is sleet. Okay, sleet is different than hail and groffle. You might get some groffle, heck with it. Maybe in the mix here of snow in sleet. Now, of course, we all know what snow is, right? Snow is because the whole layer of the atmosphere here is below freezing. So you start off as a snowflake and you keep that snowflake all the way down to the surface. So we end up seeing snow when it snows at 23 degrees. So don't be confused that, hey, my temperature's 23 degrees. Why are we not seeing snow, David? Because the atmosphere above you is above freezing. There's a column of air that is warmer, okay? And that is why we use these radar forecasts, because that way we know what precipitation type you're going to get. So now to the fun part is forecasting this, all right? So now that you know what your different precipitation types are, hopefully you got that down. Did I do a good job at explaining that? I want to make sure we're clear on that, because now we're going to move into the forecasting part of this video and look at our totals, how much ice is going to accumulate, how much snow, how much sleet, what is this going to result, and everything, okay? All right, so now that we talked about that, this is going to get really nasty. Okay, so many areas down here in the southeastern portion, almost said southeastern U.S., southeastern Missouri, you're going to start off with freezing rain. How about that? You're going to start off with freezing rain, and it might just stay freezing rain there for a while. And there could be thunder freezing rain as well. So yeah, you might see lightning. You might see, you may hear thunder. And you're wondering, man, how's there thunder when there is freezing rain, right? Well, again, we talked about this. The column above you is really saturated. There's more instability to feed off of that. And with isotropic lift, so this warmer air moving around on the back side, it's throwing moisture around. It's, this is forming that comma shape, and this is a dynamic system in the first place. So what you're going to end up seeing is some convective elements. Yeah, you might see thunder snow with this too. Thunder sleet, thunder freezing rain. There will be a lot of people probably posting, basically mentioning me on Twitter, or X, I should say, that, hey, David, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and we're getting lightning and what? Sleet? Yeah. There's going to be that sort of thing with this system because you have these intense bands. So that is Sunday afternoon. So this really amplifies overnight Saturday into Sunday. And yeah, right here, there might be thunder snow. That is some intense snowfall rates coming down right there. That is 40 millimeters an hour. I think that's, yeah, is that millimeter? Or no, this is decibels, sorry. 40 decibels, that could be a little generous, could be a little higher than that. Our high-res models may underdo things a little bit, but either way, heavy snowfall for Kansas, and it looks like right now for Kansas City, you might spare the best with only sleet. Don't be fooled if this goes a little north, and you might start off as snow, change over to sleet and freezing rain, and then back over to snow once the cooler air moves in and some strong northerly winds help to pump in that cooler air. Okay. If you're in St. Louis, Missouri, you're starting off as sleet, and then it is a question mark if you warm up enough or if the air above you is sufficiently warm enough and the surface layer is shallow enough with those below or below 32-degree temperatures to allow some freezing rain. Right now, it looks like it's going to be sleet for this area. Springfield, Missouri, you're going to start off as freezing rain and then might change over to rain briefly, back to freezing rain, and then get some snow on the backside of this. So pretty much everyone somewhere in here in Missouri gets a wintry mix. Even so, you do get rain as the warmer air moves in and as the whole column warms up enough. All right, so now let's take a look here at the Ohio Valley, because this is where a lot of people live, and this is where a lot of the attention. It is in this little strip that I'm really concerned about. Right in here is where we have the best chances of significant freezing rain accumulation. Enough, and I want to be very clear about this, enough of ice accumulation that we could be dealing with power outages that don't last only hours, but they could last for up to a day or more in some areas. Okay, so we can see this. Areas that have the freezing rain the longest, maybe get some sleet at times, will have the best chances of seeing significant power outages, utility lines coming down, trees coming down, okay? You might see images of an ice fortress, not really a fortress, but like trees sagging down, ice sickles hanging off of trees. It's going to be like a scene out of a movie in some areas. All right. And a little education. I don't know if any other YouTuber has covered it and told you about this, but never, ever, ever stand underneath a tree, not because it will fall on you, but if any of the ice pieces, they have enough weight to them, even on the side of a roof, you know, you get these icicles that come down. If they are heavy enough and they are big enough, and if they break off and they hit you, expect serious injuries. Expect probably go to the urgent care and get checked out, because there could be a lot of ice that really piles up here. Especially if it rains first and then we get a flash freeze behind it, that really adds up. And I've seen it many times where because I go to Lake Tahoe well, I haven't been to Lake Tahoe in a while, but there are times where I've been in Lake Tahoe where I go and stay at a resort and I see some 8-foot long icicles, because up there during the day it gets warm enough sometimes during the winter months where the snow melts off the roof and it just drips off the roof. And you get these icicles, and boy, I've seen some really big icicles that are so big they could leave dents on roofs. Like if you have like a roof like this, and then you got another roof like a nosebleed kind of setup, you can get dents. All right, so keep that in mind. I will mention this in the live stream here. Falling ice from trees could cause a lot of injuries and could break your windshield. So probably it's a good idea to stay off the roads if you can, if you're encountering any kind of frozen precipitation other than snow. And even wet snow here is not going to save you entirely, because some areas, say like Springfield, Illinois, hopefully I got my location there pretty correct. You're going to start off as snow, and you're probably wondering that, hooray! Good. We're only getting snow with this. Not bad at all. What did you just say? I'm glad I'm getting snow, because you might get sleet too. It's a wet snow, and it's going to be a lot of weight to it. There's a lot of water packed into that snow, and it may freeze, and so we get crunchy snow instead. Kind of the form of slushy snow, then it freezes because you get colder temperatures in the back of this. So it ends up very crunchy, not the snowball type of snow texture that you want to, throw snowballs at each other. This is a really wet snow that we're talking about here. I mean, in theory, your freezing line right here, the 540 line, is literally it's snowing in some areas where the whole column overall is not really that cold. So this is that kind of snow that is gonna be wet. It's a heavy wet snow, not heavy as in like the rates are gonna be heavy, but like it's a lot of weight. All right, putting on to that. And yes, some of this snowfall rates could be heavy as well. And so you can see this right here. It transitions over the course of tomorrow in these areas like southern Illinois, southern Indiana. Man, Cincinnati, Ohio, that is right down in here. You're going to start off as some snow briefly and then change right over to maybe freezing rain. Hey, this is going to be the thing. Yeah, it's going to be a really big problem. Very crunchy snow there as well. And then this is the furthest this model actually goes. We don't end it there. Let's look at the European model. And let's look at the Mid-Atlantic sector here. All right. So this is the 18Z, right? Okay, it is. So this model right here shows snow for most of the duration of this winter storm. And that this is going to catch you off guard. Every model right now is showing a different scenario here. So you might be in Cincinnati and looking at the Euro and be like, oh, it's going to be snowing the whole time. But you look at a model like this, like our NAM model, and you're seeing something that looks entirely different. Something that shows sleet and freezing rain where, well, it looks like Columbus, Ohio gets most of the snow. And even so, that may transition briefly over to sleet. In other words, not one given area is going to just only see snow. If you're extreme northern, like central northern Indiana, central northern portion here of Ohio, central northern-ish, near, say, Chicago, Illinois, you're going to likely just see snow. But yeah, I mean, this whole area right in here is going to see a transition. Snow to freezing rain, over to rain, then back over to snow. This is what we call a wintry mix in meteorological term, because you're getting a mix of different precipitations throughout a storm period. Thank you, Kanan Johnson, for the $2 donation. I do appreciate the $2. Okay, and then it's not just the upper Midwest that's going to see this. This is going to be a really big problem, and I'm starting to get a little concerned right in here. This is based on the Euro because our CAMS doesn't go out this far, which is our convective allowing models, our high-res meso models. So we have to look at our global models another run here. But northern portion here of Virginia into West Virginia, Maryland up here. My sister lives in Maryland, by the way. In Delaware, there's going to be a lot of snowfall. And until those CAMs come into agreement, this could wobble northward, it could wobble southward, or wiggle around. But at this given time on the 18Z run, this is some heavy snowfall that we're talking here. This is in inches an hour, so that is up to about 1/4 of an inch to almost 1/2 an inch an hour of snowfall rates here in central northern Virginia state. That's enough to lead to quick accumulations, and then that's going to continue. Look at some of this right here, right over southern Maryland and southern portion there of Delaware, getting some really, really intense snowfall rates. And again, I want to be clear here, this is some wet snow that we're dealing with. This is not your fun and games, snowball fight snow at all, I should say, shovelable snow. This is going to be the snow that is really hard to shovel up because it's wet. We talked about this, a lot of moisture being flung around here, and this column is barely supportive of snowfall in the first place. And so what you're going to end up seeing here through Monday morning, and that's been the consensus here on the Euro, that your Monday morning commute here is not going to be pretty. Allow extra time, minutes if not hours, to get to work if you really have to get to work. Otherwise, just work from home. Just don't go to work at all on Monday. Probably school will be canceled here because of the heavy snowfall. There's going to be some strong winds to go along with this. Power outages because of the heavy wetness to the snow, too. Stay home, please, on Monday. I encourage you all to just stay home. Once those warnings get upgraded here from the National Weather Service, we'll know pretty well on exactly what's going to happen. But yeah, for sure, Monday morning, from right about here, so most people commute in the morning right about this time when all the snow is going to be falling. Freezing rain too. Roads could be closed. We could see if any roads are open, if they're not treated well, again, road closures, impossible road travel in many areas, flight cancellations. So if you fly to work, so let's just say you're in Norfolk and you want to fly, or you work in, say, portions of, say, Northern Virginia up here, and you have to fly as a commuter, so your commute is basically flying. Those flights could be canceled because of the heavy wet snow, and then maybe turning over to sleet and freezing rain, which in the first place, not really good on the aircraft engines very much. So yeah, Monday, just call in sick. All right. You could blame me if it's not that bad. All right. Because I'm telling you how it is here. On the European or GFS model, let's look at that model really quickly here. We'll look at the whole 9 yards, but this is even kind of agreeing with our NAM model, actually. And here, it turns over to sleet and freezing rain then versus a Euro showing snow. This would even be a worse scenario because you start off as snow, so there's some accumulation there on the roadways, and then you turn over to sleet, and then you turn over to some freezing rain briefly, probably about 1/10 of an inch or less here, but enough to, well, your car will be sliding around on the roadway, and we don't want accidents, all right? So this is a situation here. If you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, if you're in Philadelphia over here, you start off as snow, then may change briefly over to freezing rain. Only briefly, and then, well, it'll be snowing on the backside because those temperatures really fall in the deep layer of the atmosphere, okay? So that's a look at that. And again, Monday early morning, say about 2 or 3 in the morning, through about, I would say, yeah, even your evening commute here could have a lot of snow. So probably a good idea just to stay home. Even so, conditions may improve. If you just look at this from the Euro perspective, it's a no-go at all because you're going to get snow throughout the system. Okay, so 2 different solutions here, and it's going to be interesting what these models will show us once we get our 0Z Euro in tonight. We will be hosting that here in this live stream because we will be live here until about 9:30, maybe 9:45, however long it takes here once those models come in. Okay, so now you all, did I show you all the HRRR? No, I didn't. This whole time I didn't. So here's the HRRR. Now, this is showing sleet. The HRRR has a bias, and it's a cold biased. So what it ends up showing is instead of, well, sleet, it's very hard to go just from rain to sleet here. There's going to be some freezing rain all in this purple here. And so what you end up seeing here in the Midwest, and this is for Sunday morning, you're probably going to see some sleet and freezing rain in the mix here. This whole purple area that is indicated here on the model, and then to the north where there's going to be snow. Now, it's another good reminder, we're going to have really strong winds. These isobars here, see these lines of equal pressure, and that's basically what these are. Lines of equal pressure separated by 2 millibars. That's the equal pressure that we use in meteorology. And look at how tight these isobars are. These are really tight. So you're not going to just be dealing with damaging ice in some of these areas, but the winds will actually exacerbate that because you're going to get strong winds that come in out of the northerly direction here. Remember, air likes to flow from high pressure all the way to lower pressure. And so what we end up seeing is some very strong northerly winds that develop And that's going to continue here throughout the duration of this snow and ice event over Missouri, over southeastern portion there of Kansas, and even over Illinois. Now let's go over to not that. So the Ohio Valley, let's look at that here on the HRRR. I don't know how far this has gone. Okay, yeah, this has gotten a little far enough at least to where we have southern Indiana here. But yeah, this is really bad. Luckily it's Sunday and it's not Monday, because a lot of people would be commuting in this if it were on a Monday. But yeah, look at all of this blue to the north. Some heavy snowfall. Thunder snow is possible out of this. I am not surprised if we do get that. And then, of course, your freezing rain down here in purple and kind of the maroon red color, and then over here too. And then, of course, you get your severe weather. Now, the severe weather is pretty much straightforward. I think we're going to have more of a linear type setup down here in the deep south for severe weather. So in this case, a tornado threat is still an outside possibility, but mainly quickly developing into a linear line here. Upscale growth into a powerful MCS here. And of course, with these events, you could get damaging winds too, because we're going to have a strengthening low-level jet coming in out of the, actually more out of this direction, out of the southwesterly direction. And so what you end up seeing here is damaging winds along this line. Some of them could be capable of producing, or any embedded circulations, we could see a few brief tornadoes. But I think the strong tornado threat that I was thinking before, because this was further out in time at the time, is I think the tornado threat here is going to be lower than what we had last Sunday, where it was a lot higher. We had a lot of strong tornadoes, a lot of damage, some buildings completely destroyed by that. This go around, it's probably going to be more of a wind damage threat. So don't be surprised if there's an enhanced risk for, say, a 30 sig for damaging winds, but you end up seeing a 2 or 5% chance of tornadoes. And the hail threat still probably not going to exist here. Maybe a 5% for large hail at the very most. But looks like here at this given time, this is a very linear event. Maybe some supercellular activity here that may try to develop. That's still to be worked out in the modeling at this given time. But just keep that in mind. Severe weather is going to be a thing with this on the southern side. Okay, so I hope I did well at showing you all that down there. And that would be Sunday morning or late Saturday into Sunday. All right, so now to our snowfall totals. So this is, a lot of people have been talking about this. Okay, people think that the snow is going to be the thing with this. Like, oh my goodness, it's all about the snow amounts, all right? Oh my gosh, it's gonna only be snow for my area. I shouldn't worry about any power lines down. Keep in mind what I just showed you is sleet, freezing rain, and snow at the same time. So yeah, you're gonna get a bit of everything, not just snow for one location. That's this type of system that plays tricks on people that, oh man, we're going to get a foot of snow. How about this? You may get a half an inch of ice and maybe an inch of sleet as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind here that, yeah, maybe a foot in West Virginia, but maybe an inch of sleet and about a half an inch or less of freezing rain there. Okay. So this is the European ensemble prediction system, and people are probably going to tell me in chat, David, use the actual deterministic models. There's still a lot of wiggle room in the modeling, okay, in tonight's forecast that I am not really comfortable just using one individual run, which, by the way, I'm not going to say the YouTuber here on the live stream, but I would really, whoever you are that's watching this live stream, I would encourage you to not use Kashira, something like that. It's a different snow ratio where it involves like a 10 or like a, yeah, it's like a 20-in-1 ratio. It involves like a 30-in-1 ratio. That's your Conchira, okay? We're using the 10-in-1 ratio snowfall totals, okay? And we're using the ensemble forecast because we can't trust one individual model, okay? So people say I'm hyping things up. I'm also showing ensembles, if that makes you feel better, all right? And just got a weather alert, looks like. Dense fog advisory, I think, is issued for us. Woohoo! We're not going to see that next week. Okay, so snowfall totals, and I'm using the whole map here because using different regions here, just switching between, actually, I guess we can do it. So we can start in the central United States first, and then we'll work our way eastward. So we'll work our way this way. Okay, so northern Kansas, northeastern Kansas, what I'm thinking right now is probably about 6 to 12 inches of snowfall is what we're thinking right now based on the European ensemble forecast. In the northern end of Missouri up here, you could see as much as, say, 6 to 8 inches, maybe up to about 10 inches of snow. St. Louis, Missouri, again, the sleet, I want to emphasize that. You see 7 inches of snow and you say, woohoo, good, we're going to see snow. But you're also going to see sleet and maybe a brief window in there where it may change over to freezing rain, then back over to snow again once the colder air wraps all the way around and comes back in from the northwest. So therefore, snow, sleet, and freezing rain could be the issue here for the Silver Arch of Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. Springfield, maybe about an inch or so of snow is anticipated with this system. Let's go over to the Ohio Valley. All right, let's see. We just showed you this. So southern Illinois, southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, southern Ohio here, probably on the order of about 7 to maybe 11 inches, maybe a foot or so. And again, I want to really box this in up here. Box this in. 10-in-1 ratio, okay? We're not using our Conchira for many reasons, okay? And actually, I'm going to show you briefly here on what ratios actually are. I showed this in last night's stream, but I want to just clarify this another time in this live stream so you all really get a grasp of what your ratios actually are and why are they important. But we can see here, over the next 5 days, just simply through, actually, you know what? We'll go all the way through, let's do Tuesday morning. Areas like here in West Virginia might get up to about a foot. So about, say, 6 to 10 inches, maybe 12 inches of snow there. Northern Central Virginia, not West Virginia, could get as much as possibly 6 to 8 inches of snow. And then when you get into Maryland, maybe up to 10 inches. All right, so yeah, there will be almost a foot of snow here, but in general, the confidence of seeing up to a foot is 50-50 right now. And let me see if there is a parameter. I don't think there is here. But this shows us at least 4 inches of 10-in-1 ratio snow. And you can see here there is a 96% chance. So it's pretty likely that you will see at least 4 inches of snow here. Anything like about a 60 to 80% chance on the ensemble forecast. And again, these are chances of seeing at least 4 inches of 10-in-1 ratio snow over West Virginia, over Northern Virginia into, say, Delaware, the Delmarva area, as well as, say, Maryland, like Easton, Maryland, that has a 90% chance of seeing that. So now let's take a look. Let's see what let's go back. GEFS. So let's look at the GFS. Not this again. All right. So for the Midwest, actually not the Midwest. Man, this is being fiddly tonight with me. So here's a look at the GEFS ensemble. And this is loading in. And there you go. There's your similar snowfall totals. Really low over here in West Virginia. Only getting maybe 8 inches, maybe 9 inches, not even a foot on the GEFS ensemble forecast. And then when we go back and look at the in Kansas, there's more agreement here that you could see 13 inches of snow. So this is probably where a lot of the talk and the hype is coming up in many YouTube videos. I'm one of those people that kind of went over the top on this, but you can see up in here is where we do see a foot of snow. Now, there's a YouTuber out there that used that Kachira, and he was showing literally 2 feet of snowfall. Like, there's not going to be 2 feet of snowfall with this. I don't care how people forecast. There's not going to be 2 feet of snowfall. If you say 2 feet, I'm unsubscribing from your channel. I'm being dead serious. There's not going to be 2 feet of snow with this. There's no chances. I even looked at even on Weather Bell. Let's go over to Weather Bell. And this goes a little more deeper, and let's actually look at the chances. So we get our probabilistic forecast with the chances of 2 feet of snowfall. And let me just make sure this is working. So you can see right here, there's a 40 to 60% chance of maybe a foot of snow, a foot, that's 12 inches. But look at, there is no chances here on this map that you get 2 feet, okay? It's just the storm is going to be moving too fast for that, and you're just not going to get that. And that's a good thing, because if this were to drop 2 feet of snowfall, then we would be in a whole different ballgame. The European model, right in here, is even showing the same thing. Actually, on this model, there's barely an area. Excuse me. There's barely an area up here in northern Kansas, northeastern Kansas, that only sees a 10% chance of seeing even a foot of snow. So that's the thing, is it's really, there's a lot of what if here on the modeling on how much snow could actually fall out of this. Now, what might be helpful is looking at our short range ensemble forecasting system, which is a different ensemble output, not a global one. And this is even not going very aggressive. This is only showing amounts that range from 6 inches down in central Kansas all the way up to maybe a foot or close to that in the northern half of Missouri into central Illinois. Okay, and then let's look at one more sector. I know I want to really clear things up here, and then even barely a foot here on the short range ensemble forecasting. Oh, and there we go. I always forget to change my tab here, but you can see clearly with what we're looking at here, a 2 feet of snowfall, not going to happen. A foot of snow, still a possibility. There's a 30 to 60% chance of one seeing at least 12 inches of wet snow, in this case 10-1 ratio. So now, speaking of ratio, I am only halfway through this. That's what happens when you put a lot of time and detail. I had to plan this all out, because I had to plan on what I am going to actually say, how I'm going to articulate things. And so, excuse me if I go on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. All right, so let's look at the entire United States here. And I did show this in yesterday's video on our, is it here? It better be, yeah. So this is your, is it? Yeah, this is your snow ratio. This is what we're looking at here. So basically your Kachira snow ratios are going to be higher because, again, the colder the air, the snow is drier and it's more powdery, okay? I want to really clear this up because people are still making videos thinking that there's going to be 2 feet of snowfall with this. You're using Kachira, okay? Kachira is going to spit out a lot more higher totals, okay? In such a way that right over here, Okay, I'm sorry this is a little small. I didn't even realize that. So this whole area here, 22 inches. There's one area, 24 inches. Come on. Come on. Like, no, there's not going to be 24 inches. But when we go over to our 10-1 ratio, look at how much lower those accumulations are. A lot lower, right around a foot in many areas here. So that is why we're using the 10-1 ratio, because of the degree of warming in the deep layer. The coldest air is going to be somewhat removed underneath where all this snow is going to be forming. And so, therefore, it's going to be more of the 10-1 ratio snowfall totals, okay? And so what we're going to bring up here is this product, okay? And this is your ratio numbers. So you could imagine this, and this works for anywhere, okay? Even for California, even so there's no snow falling, you can see based on the temperature profile. And look what happens, okay? So your snow is up in here. Your snow ratios are right around 10 or so inches, okay? And then whatever snow we have left, which most of it will probably be kind of tapering off here, that's when you could get a little bit more drier snow, but most of that snow would have been over by then. And wherever it snows up here, it's more of that 10-1-ish ratio. So this is not really a dry snow. If you want really high snow ratios, well, you got to find it in Canada, in Yellowknife, in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, where it's typically colder there. Your snow ratios are 30-1. So for every 30 inches of snow you get 1 inch of water equivalent, versus areas like down here in Missouri, where your snow could be so wet, it could be an 8-1 ratio. So for every 8 inches of snow you get 1 inch of water when you melt all that snow through. So that's kind of a way to look at it on this map. And this is free to look at, okay? College Edu page, go find it, weather.cod.edu/forecast/ and then just go to GFS and then go down here to winter and click on Kachira snow ratio, okay? And then this is going to give you that, okay? And it's going to give you a range from like an inch. Well, that's very, very wet. Hopefully that never exists, because for every 1 inch of snow you get 1 inch of water. At that point, it's just rain. And then it just goes all the way up as it gets colder. That makes sense. Okay? Capiche? I think we got it. All right. So, very important. Okay. I'm only halfway through this stinking presentation. I think it's a presentation, not really a stream. Or it's a podcast. However you want to call it. So this is a look at the freezing rain. And there's two ways to measure this. You could use a Fraser method, which uses the equation that is exerted on an object, such as if there's wind, if there is melting that happens that affects the exact amounts of ice that fall or that accumulate. So we will use a Fraser and then use just the typical QPF, which is like how much freezing rain that actually accumulates without melting, without any distribution. So you can see right here that the European ensemble, now you're going to see forecasts like the National Blend, which I have a secret for you all. The National Weather Service, your local weather office, typically uses the National Blend model to get those ice accumulations, and they're worked into their forecast. So when you click on a point forecast, so let's just go down here and click on, let's click on down here. So this is near Dent. I think this is just south of Rolla in Missouri. You're going to see this up to 0.3 of an inch of ice accumulation. Okay, and you're probably like, dude, 0.3? We're seeing more than that. We're seeing more than that on the models. I would trust this a lot more than the models, because the models do have some errors that happen with them. All right? Because equations, mathematical primitive calculations. And so when we look at the freezing rain amounts here, you can see on the ensemble, this scares people. 1 inch. We could see 1 inch. There's a potential of that happening based on our ensemble here, but when I show you the Freza on the operational, that's not available here on the ensemble. All 51 members, by the way, run this model. This is an average. This is concerning right here. You're seeing this and be like, whoa, whoa, half an inch to 1 inch. I am going with right now still about a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice in this area. That's a lot. It doesn't matter if it's 1 inch or if it's 3/4 of an inch or if it's a half an inch. When you get more than 1/4 of an inch of ice, you start seeing a lot of power outages. You start seeing a lot of trees come down. You start seeing cars spinning out of control. You start seeing a lot of problems arise from 1/4 of an inch of ice. Now, when you start getting a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch, especially up like the higher you go, like 3/4 of an inch, that's when we work ourselves into crippling ice. That's when you have power outages that could last up to several days, up to a week in some of these areas. So get ready to use your generator if you don't have one. Make sure you have enough gas. Go and get gas for it tonight or tomorrow if you haven't already, because you will probably need that generator for a while, more than at least 5 or 6 hours. Okay. And don't be driving in this. This is extremely dangerous. All right. Especially if we get 3/4 of an inch. Believe me, 3/4 of an inch will take down almost every, not every tree, but it will take down quite a few trees. There will be power lines, utility poles coming down because of the weight of the ice. There will be problems. And I'm not kidding about this, okay? I don't like scaring you all. I don't like fear-mongering, but seriously, folks, we have letted you know literally almost 7 days in advance about this, and you had 7 days to get prepared for this. Now, this is on the Fram. Actually, it's not Freza. Sorry. This is on the Fram. I call it Freza. I like, adding a little terminology to this. So the Freza calculation estimates here. And again, if we roll over this, it's probably really, you can't see this you only can see half of it, but it says here, an estimate for ice accretion on elevated horizontal surfaces based on empirical data. Lighter precipitation, stronger winds, and colder wet bulb temperatures increase accretion efficiency. That's kind of out of my books right there. But in general, this is going to be the more accurate estimate. The QPF is just not putting that into the equation, and you get totals like 1.3 inches, which, by the way, that's not going to happen. I would believe me or not, ready or not, here I come. There's not going to be 1.4 inches of ice, because if there is, that will be historic. There will be widespread devastation. I mean, I'm not joking when I say devastation. There will be taller trees, more trees. I mean, near widespread tree damage, property damage, and widespread road closures and power outages. Okay, so that's definitely not going to happen there. That's pretty high though. So what you instead use is this tool right here, Total Ice Fram in estimates. And so this gives us a rough idea that we'll probably end up seeing about a half an inch, maybe a little bit more in some of these areas, up to as much as 0.8 of an inch. That's about 3/4 of an inch or a little more in these areas in Kentucky. Anything, again, above 1/4 of an inch or more will result in power outages. And believe me, this whole area, we could have 1 million people without power. In fact, not to scare you all about this could rival some of the most widespread power outages that we have ever seen with an ice storm in a long time, could rival some of the power outage numbers that we had with Hurricane Milton and Hurricane, what was the other hurricane? Oh my gosh, can't even remember off the fly right now. You get the idea, okay? I want to make it clear here that this is pretty serious, all right? And when we look at the National Blenda models, this is the more conservative forecast because it's going to use the Fraser, it's going to use a Fram index here. So this is what this is going to show is 0.4 of an inch. This is the generous side of things, but again, more than 1/4 of an inch will cause a lot of problems in this area. And this whole area that I've circled in black here we'll have widespread, significant accumulations, near widespread power disruptions and outages that could last up to several days, if not even a week or more in some of these areas. Okay, this is on the national blend, and this is what the National Weather Service uses to make their forecast, to generate these text products that you see. You can go and look for this, and I'm providing some good information for you all. You can go, so what you need to do after this live stream, click on your forecast office. So let's just say I live in St. Louis. Let's just say I live in this ice storm. And let's just say, I'm not in an ice storm warning, but what am I going to see in Farmington if I lived there? Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down, and then you'll get this graphical forecast. Pretty cool, huh? You can see what your temperatures are going to be, what your weather is going to be, and you can see the winter storm warning. But even so, you're in a winter storm warning, wintry mix, freezing rain, then wintry mix. So winter storm warning here is not just for snow. It's for other precipitation types. And right here, ice accumulation up to a tenth of an inch, and then new ice accumulations up to 4/10 of an inch. So we could be looking at a half an inch here. 0.4 plus 0.1 equals 0.5 inches. That's pretty considerable right there when you think about it, okay? And that's not even in the ice storm warning, if that makes you feel better, okay? By the way, also on this forecast, notice your temperatures too. 16 degrees in Farmington, Missouri. 16 degrees Sunday night. Only 24 during the day. That's literally 8 degrees below the freezing mark of water. And then look at this, 6 degrees, 5 degrees. So we're dealing with a situation that could be life-threatening here. You get your ice storm, and then if you lose power and you don't have enough gas in your generator, I don't really say this very often, and I don't like using the words that I'm about to use here, but this could kill people. This will probably kill people because, for one thing, your generator may not have enough gas left, right? Your generator is not going to run off of gas for 2 or 3 straight days, and the ice or the roads could be covered in ice unless they treat them fast enough. I'm really praying that people, that your local road maintenance people could treat these roads very quickly, because we're going to have problems if not. Gas stations could close because, well, there could be ice in those areas, and it may not be safe. Excuse me. So I want to really make it clear here that these ice accumulations are pretty substantial, okay? Little means a lot, okay? Just think of it. Say it with me, folks. Say it with me in chat right now. Say this with me. Little means a lot, okay? Copy me. Little means a lot. All right, let's take a look now at what the GFS is showing on the ice totals. I'm really curious about this. So let's roll this through. Yeah, this is pretty concerning right here. This is on the conservative side right here. Let me bring this back up. Okay, FRAM. Again, this is the FRAM calculation. And look at some of these areas up to an inch. I don't think there's going to be 1 inch of ice, because first of all, it's really hard to predict where the most ice is going to fall. But in general, looking at about a quarter of an inch up to a half an inch or more in some of these areas, maybe up to 3/4 of an inch, right? Little means a lot. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, so that's what we're dealing with here. Like that much of ice. Look at my camera. That much of ice is going to lead to a lot of problems. Okay. So that's that. Now let me look at one more thing here, then we'll move on. And here's a look at your one of seeing at least a 1/10 of an inch or more of ice. And I showed this just earlier. Look at this, 100% all the way across here. This means you will very likely see freezing rain that is significant. Southern Illinois into Kentucky, southern Indiana. Boy, this is again on your probabilistic forecast. the chances of seeing at least a tenth of an inch of ice in a 24-hour period. And you can see right here, the higher the chances, the more likely it is. The lower the chances, the more uncertain the forecast actually is. And you can see here, 4% in central Indiana. So if you're in Kokomo, Indiana, if you're in northern Indiana, you're pretty safe at this point of not seeing ice. But if you're down here in southern Indiana, goodbye. I'm sorry. You're going to be in trouble. Okay. So now we talked about the ice. Did I do pretty good at covering that? Was I pretty thorough, folks? I want to make sure so we can move on and talk. And we will get to questions. Believe me, I'm more organized with my live streams. A lot of people like to do questions as they're presenting, but I like to just get through my presentation first and then get to the question part after. Thank you so much, Titan. All right, I was pretty thorough. Good. That's good. All right, so this is your winter storm severity index, and this just updated. I want to make sure I got the latest information. Yes. So you can see right here, all these red colors. I did show this in my video earlier today. Major impacts due to sleet, snow, or freezing rain, and these could get higher as forecasts become more fine-tuned. And there are a couple of areas down here in a few little towns, okay, in southern Indiana and in northwestern-ish, west-northwest Kentucky. There are purple areas here. Those are extreme impacts. And let me see if I could even bring this to a local level so we can see that. Can I? Darn it! I can't. I just can't. I can't bring it into a local level, unfortunately. But you can see here, there is major to extreme impacts. Okay, that little purple area. I don't know if you guys can see that, but right there and right there, those little two dots, that's extreme impacts potentially with this winter storm. Okay, and then of course, if you're outside of that, you're in the minor moderate impact, which means you could have minor to moderate impacts based on snow, sleet, and freezing rain for your area. But again, these will probably go up, and we're going to see a lot more widespread area of red, and then maybe we get a little localized area in here, especially, I want to emphasize, right in here where we could have extreme impacts due to freezing rain and sleet mixed in with snow. So, yeah, just please take this seriously, because, yeah, it's going to be a very rough one. It is going to be rough. And with the colder temperatures coming in on the back side of this, which I wanted to show you all this is going to make things much more concerning. All right, so here's a look at the day 3 maximum temperatures. This is for Monday evening, and you can see across this, if you're in Missouri, if you're in southern Illinois, southern Indiana, if you're in, say, the Kentucky area, temperatures during the day will be in the 30s. That's what we are seeing here. But look at these minimum temperatures right here. These are going to get awfully cold. I mean, temperatures in the single digits and the teens all across the upper Midwest into the midsection of the United States into, say, into Missouri, St. Louis, they're coming down at 4 to 5 degrees during the night. Going to be really cold. And then look at 20s all the way down into the Gulf states. So it's not just areas that get the freezing rain that are going to see the coldest temperatures, but it's going to be areas even to the south. And some of these areas do not warm up very much, staying in the mid to low 20s during the day. And then look at your minimum temperatures, even colder. Holy cow. In St. Louis, Missouri, could get as cold as 2 degrees at night. Central Missouri, northern Missouri, -1, -4 degrees. That is a nail biter. And then day 5, even colder in some of these areas. So in other words, once the ice develops, it's going to stick and it's not going to melt. I want to make that clear with you all. Unlike past ice storms where the ice accumulates and warmer air replaces that, and then the ice quickly melts gradually, right? Not this go around. The ice falls and sticks like super glue, okay? And you could still have power outages occurring well after the freezing rain has accumulated. Okay, so I wanted to really make that clear here. Very, very, very cold temperatures will follow this weather system. All right, really cold air coming in the wake of this. And that's just on the national blended model. Let's actually look at let's go back and look at our models. And let's look at the European. Okay, European. So here we go. So the European is one model that we look at, and look what it's showing. Some very cold temperatures in Missouri down here. Look at this. 0 degrees for your morning hours of Tuesday. We got -5. We got 5 degrees above 0 in northern Kentucky. And then it just gets colder. Like, I mean, you're not going to get relief. I mean, this is going through Thursday morning. Some areas here on the Euro want it cold as -5 degrees in some of these areas. And imagining being without power and it's -5 degrees. That's scary. I cannot even imagine. So I really, 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 really hope you have a big enough generator that could hold enough gas and you're able to run it long enough. And you can run at least your fireplace or at least run a portable heater to keep things warm, because this is the thing that kills people, because you can't regulate your temperature in your house because your power's out, your furnace is out, because it relies on electricity. So what you end up seeing is your power's out and it gets cold, and the temperature just gets colder and colder in your house. So that is the concern here, right in this little area. That's a Euro model. Let's take a look at the GFS American model, and let's take a look at that, because this could be devastating. Okay, why is this not loading? Come on, Slowpoke. Let's go. All right, so this is for Wednesday morning. Man, why is this taking forever to load now? Okay, should be coming in. I have internet issues throughout the day today, so hopefully it's not doing it what I think it's doing. So on the GFS model for Tuesday morning, even colder. How about this? Right around 0 degrees for the morning hours for St. Louis, Missouri. Look at these temperatures. -12, -11. Okay, and then, I mean, look at this. Is just terrible. This is just terrible, terrible, terrible. Right in here where it's really, really cold. Okay, and then it still remains cold across Indiana and Illinois. For pretty much, yeah, through Thursday, and then maybe by Friday we get a little bit of warming, barely above freezing, I guess, and then it gets cold again. And this right here tells me this whole little swath, see this well-outlined area of the coldest air? That tells me that the freezing rain and ice and snow have not melted. And that really shows up. Like, you could see how that really shows up on the model. This is more of your colder air mass overall, but there is a colder area embedded within this, and that's where you have the freezing rain, snow, sleet, all the wintry precipitation that's not going to be allowed to melt very easily. Okay, so that's going to be the concern. Power outages, hypothermia could be a thing. And then when we look at your wind chill values, come on, this is really loading slow now. Loading slow. I do not know what has happened here with the internet. Yeah, I know why, because my grandma is watching television downstairs, watching Hulu, so that's just great. So, yeah, our temperatures are just not working. That's why I had to preload everything, just because on how slow things load. But I'll tell you, your wind chill values will be around -15 to as cold as -25, -30 in some areas. That's enough to really make things even colder than what they already are. Okay, So, anyways, do you guys have any questions? We're going to get to questions here for about 30 minutes. You have 30 minutes, okay? 30 minutes to ask me your questions. 30 minutes sharp right now. I'm going to set my timer. Hey Siri, set timer 30 minutes. All right. You guys, there it is. Oops. Right there. 30 minutes to ask me your questions. Also, please support the channel by subscribing. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. We're at 34,000 in time for the new year. So thank you guys for getting me to 34,200. No, 300 right now. So wow. 300 subs already since that means I gained 100 subs a day on average. So thank you guys for the support. Don't throw me too many questions too quickly, though, okay? I could only get to questions one at a time. Good evening, Mike. How are you doing? Let's all wave to Mike. How are you doing? Is 5 to 10 inches still likely for southern Indiana? Like I said, for southern Indiana, and let me bring this up here for your guys' reference on the EPS model. So as far as snow goes, you're likely, hold on. So right now, even so you do get your 8 inches, you need to understand there will be sleet and freezing rain mixed in with this. We have a wintry mix threat, okay? So just because that, 10 inches of snow or maybe 7 inches, don't get too caught up on the snow totals, all right? Because you're going to have freezing rain mixed in with sleet at times. All right, it's a wintry mix. It's a wintry mix. Happy New Year, Robert. What's up, Kristen Marie? How are you doing, girl? Can you throw that phone away and get a better, cheaper Android? Oh my gosh. Hey, Chris, you hate iPhones? I love them. Good security measures, you know. I got the iPhone 16 Pro Max and I love it. It runs fast. I get 4K camera. Hey, if you want to direct message me on Discord, the best Android phone out there, or one of the best, go ahead. But ever since I had an issue with Android about 8 years ago or 9 years ago, something like that. Actually, it was 10 years ago. I had an issue with Android with their, I did not feel like they were as secure. So I'm like, I'm leaving Android. I just don't like their layout of their applications. I've been with Apple for over 10 years and I love them. No issue at all. Do you think Louisville, Kentucky will get at least 5 inches of snow? At this point, there is certainly a likelihood that you will probably get about 2 to 5 inches of snow out of this winter storm. How much snow for Parkersburg, West Virginia? So that's in the West Virginia area. So in general, you're expecting to see in the range of about 7 to 10 to maybe 11 inches. We'll make it unique for you. 7 to 11 inches. What's up, Chase? How are you doing, buddy? You know what? What was funny is I watched my live stream of the King Tides last night, and I was like, hey, I called it Chase Lagoon, remember? And now I see Chase in here. It's like, hey. Long-time supporter, bud. I am blessed that you're here watching me of this given day. You're awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh! And speaking of Chase, there is the possibility, Chase, that you might get something else by the middle of next week. So that storm, and I didn't really talk much about this, and that's because of the inconsistencies on the models, and there is still a lot of inconsistencies, and that's to be expected. The GFS now does not show freezing rain over Houston, Texas, but shows rain, and then it kind of translates right over to snow, maybe briefly, as that cooler air moves in. So this is another winter storm that we are going to need to watch pretty closely, and this would be for Thursday and Friday next week. All right, so for that Thursday, Friday time frame, developing in Texas, rain, some gusty winds, and that moves into the Northeast. And wow, this would be a pretty significant snowstorm right here, actually. And because there is some 10-1 ratio involved in that, that will give you maybe a foot of snow. But if you use the 10, yeah, see, the Kachira is even just as significant. So right here, maybe another foot of snow for literally right in the middle, too. Right in the southern New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware area. So that is a storm that I am watching closely. But this has been just moving around. There have been other YouTubers. Only 1 or 2 YouTubers have been talking about this. But I would hold off. It's your choice if you want to talk about this. But there is a lot of wiggle room. That's why I've been kind of waiting patiently on just how this is going to pan out. We're seeing scenarios, folks, where you see something like this and, oh, it's just a little bit of snow. And then you see a model run that looks a whole lot different. In fact, we go back to the 18Z run. Look at 18Z run, nothing. 12Z run, some snow. 06Z run, nothing. So it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this is the most aggressive run tonight of the GFS, showing potentially a foot of snow in the eastern seaboard here. But again, where this develops, and there would be freezing rain in the usual freezing rain prone areas here in North and South Carolina, and some strong winds. But that is pretty far out in time, so I am not too concerned about it right now at the moment. And then we go into La La Land, and hopefully La La Land brings us hopes in California. We could use more rain after this storm or after this dry spell that we go into. Because we're about to get into some fire danger. Well, not here, but in Southern California. More fire trouble coming because of the strong winds that are anticipated. But yeah, here's a look at the latest ice accumulations on the 0Z output. And these did go up, it looks like. Did they? Let's see. Yeah, they're about the same. So still same ice totals in the Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. Yeah, these ice totals I am pretty concerned about. I am, especially when you look at this from the EPS, the Ensemble Prediction System. That just kind of tickles me a little bit. It gets pretty serious. I mean, if there is 1 inch of ice that does develop or that does accumulate in central Kentucky, you could bet on some week-long power outages. Okay, let me get back to questions. Okay, I'm kind of jumping in front of myself here. What's up? Do you think the Euro and EPS is too south? European has actually been quite south, actually. But the GFS, it seems to be handling it a little bit more. I did watch another streamer tonight, and it seems like the Euro is latching on to the GFS a little bit more. In other words, and this is not the latest EPS, okay, because the latest Euro hasn't come in yet. Actually, is it coming in? No, it's not coming in. Or is it coming in? Tell me, guys. I don't think it's coming in yet. Actually, it is coming in. It just started rendering. Okay, this is going to be prime time. So we are going to wait until this completely renders, which should be done by about 9:45. So, hey, I will give you guys a bonus 30 minutes to get to questions, to ask me anything. As long as it's not, you know what, inappropriate. Thoughts on getting a low taper fade? Well, my haircut? You guys don't like my haircut? Maybe I will have to do it in style. Maybe I'll have to get stripes. So actually put stripes like this and be in style. Then maybe you guys will laugh at me. How bad will it be for traveling from Virginia Beach to... Oh my goodness. So Virginia Beach, I know where Virginia Beach is. So let's use our family-friendly Radar Omega to get locations. I'm not from the eastern seaboard here. So you're going from there. So you're going from Virginia Beach all the way up to, oh gosh, where was it? Oh my goodness. So right up there is where you're traveling to. If you leave on Monday, you will run into a lot of problems. If you leave tomorrow, you should be fine. But you better leave tomorrow. Okay? Or you'll be in trouble. And then, of course, Tuesday, you should be fine for the most part. Wednesday seems to be a good day to do traveling, if you're, since you would be traveling there to the north into upstate New York. Have you done any drones? No, I have not done any drone flying. I've been really busy. Now that things are settling down with my other job, I will probably have more time to do that. I don't know. I'm collecting a lot of footage, and I want to get enough footage so when I do, or if I do start a YouTube channel with drone stuff, which would probably not really be related at all to weather, it will probably be another year or two. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Thank you, Milky Way, for tuning in, brother. I do appreciate it. How bad of ice we in West Virginia going to see? Thank you. In West Virginia, the ice, so let's just refer to the 18Z run on the EPS. So in West Virginia, if you're in southern West Virginia, you could get up to 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Someone likes ice until it knocks out your power, then you won't say ice, ice, baby anymore. Have the expected snow totals for DC risen or fallen? So for Washington, DC, let's go over to this sector. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make this a little easier, and I'm just going to go over to Weather Bell here. And go over to the Mid-Atlantic. Let's see. For Washington, D.C., you're asking on the European if snow totals have come up or have come down. Let's see. The 10-1 ratio. So let's look at the last few runs. They have come up a little bit, but in that range of about 6 to 12 inches. They have not come up very much at all. If you want to look at the deterministic run of the Euro, that's still in the process of coming in right now. You could see 6 to 12 inches. So kind of the same business there. It actually has trended up a little bit in recent model runs. So in the deterministic model world, it has trended up a little bit. Now we're looking at about 1 foot. We'll see what the 0Z shows tonight for that area. Okay, luxury trash. Chase, help me answer these questions too, because we want to get to as many questions as we can possible. Ask it once, don't ask it twice. We will make sure we get to those ASAP. All right, so let's do Afula, Oklahoma. Never heard of that. So that's in eastern Oklahoma. So that area right over here. You know what? Let's just stay with Radar Omega just because that it'll be easier to get to the questions on locations and stuff. So let's get over to the Euro. We'll do the Euro. This is not on the ensemble, so... All right, so where is this? Oh, I got to do the GFS because the Euro doesn't have that. Rico. So 10-1 ratio snow. So for that area, you're not going to be getting... What in the heck happened? Oh, gosh. Okay, I thought it was glitched out for a second. I thought I broke Radar Omega. So let's go over to the next 4 days. And so snowfall totals in Oklahoma, not a thing. But if you're referring to rainfall totals... Man, they don't even have... Oh, yeah, they do have... They better have rainfall totals, or else I'm going to slap them up the butt. So rainfall totals here, probably about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rain. But again, no snow, no freezing rain for those areas. It's going to be just too warm. Ufala. Okay. Ufala. Now I got it. I don't know if I'll remember it for more than a year. But yeah. Ufala. A giant tree fell on my neighbor's house a year ago and it's not completely fixed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if that's done by your freezing rain, there's a good example of how long damage can last beyond the scope of freezing rain. This is 0-0, and look at some of these areas. Again, this is not the accretion. Here's the accretion amount. Up to maybe 1/2 inch in these areas. Okay, that's the more truthful accumulation, but if you use QPF, there's a lot of ice. That's all I'll say. There's going to be a lot of ice. New subscriber here. What's Lennox gonna get? Thank you for subscribing. By the way, folks, the people that have subscribed, thank you very much. Also, if you want to support the channel by sending me a little tip, you can do so with Super Chat. I am going to work on doing it through Streamlabs, or you could PayPal me. Probably through Streamlabs, because I guess YouTube, I got told, takes out a percentage of that. So, Lenox, Iowa. So that's way up there. So yeah, I do appreciate your guys' support. So that area of Iowa, as far as your 10-1 ratio snow goes, you're looking at on the order of about, I would say about 4 to 8 inches. 4 to 8 inches of snow is anticipated for southern Iowa. As far as your freezing rain goes, no freezing rain, maybe some sleet briefly, but mainly a snow event for that area. So good news. Good news, you don't need to worry about power outages. Well, you might because of the strong winds that are anticipated. But yeah, there will be snow in southern Iowa with this, for sure. 1/2 inch equals power outages, yes, for sure. Even 1/4 inch. Thank you so much, Linda. I'm glad. Did I do a very good job at explaining everything for the first 1 hour of the stream? Please let me know in chat. I really need to hear the feedback, because if I don't hear the feedback, and I need your honest opinion, did I do a very good job at explaining things, the soundings, everything that you need to know about what to look for on our radar map? Because the feedback is crucial, because it lets me know that, hey, my audience likes when I cover this, or they don't like what I said here. So please let me know, okay? Honest opinion, honest feedback. Don't be biased, because I know a lot of you are loyal here. Loyal people tend to be like, yeah, David, you did a good job. Even so you didn't, you still did a good job. No, I need honest feedback. Okay, Chase said you did great. Yes, you did, David. Thank you so much. You did amazing. Southern Maryland, please. So Southern Maryland, let's go over Southern Maryland. Yeah, so Southern Maryland, I would say on the order of about 3 to 8 inches of snow is anticipated. Hey, if you live right by Easton, go to my sister's Pokemon shop. Please go over there and play Pokemon. But you're probably down here like near Salisbury, Ocean City-ish, Cambridge area, more than likely. Excellent report. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. How much snow in Pittsburgh? So how much snow in Pittsburgh? You're looking at on the order of about 3 to 8 inches of snow. When we look at the Euro, the Euro doesn't show it very well. Stupid Euro. Stupid. I'm telling you. Yeah, Radar Omega needs to do some upgrades to where, like us, we could see snowfall totals on that model. Because it really is a waste of almost like $12 or $15. No live cameras. There are live cameras. Let me see. I did promise that I would bring those live cameras up. Someone was listening to me very well, actually. And that was, I'll get to cameras here in just a second. Someone said live cameras and I missed it. Whoever that was, I'll give you a big round of applause. You actually listened really well. That's what we like. We want good listeners. Okay, so Louisville, Kentucky. So Louisville, Kentucky could get a half of a foot of snow, as in like about 5 to 12 inches of snow is anticipated there. Snow in Louisville, yes, you will have some snow in Louisville, but you're going to have to work and kind of navigate through some sleet and snow and freezing rain. Actually, freezing rain and sleet before you get your trophy. Well, you get your trophy before, but then you're going to get the bad side, and then you'll get your trophy again afterwards. So there will be power outages, I guarantee, in Louisville, because there will be snow, there will be freezing rain and sleet. It's going to be a wintry wonderland mess. Louisville, yes, I did Louisville right here. Wow, a lot of people are watching from Louisville. So yeah, Louisville, 5 to 12 inches of snowfall. Hey, here's some cameras up here. Actually, you know what? This is going to be a really good stream. I'm going to be going live tomorrow night. And wait, am I? I'm not working. Oh, no, I am working Sunday. Should I do an overnight live stream? Maybe I'll have to do that. I'll have to figure something out. Or maybe do an extension. Probably just go until midnight or something. So St. Louis is going to get a lot of sleet. That is a guarantee. When we look at our freezing rain QPF, not going to be seen much there, but to your south, which means this area is going to get a lot of sleet. In fact, this whole time, Schlot Dog has been forgetting about showing us the sleet totals. So let me show you all that right now. Let's go over to sleet and look at that, because I don't think it's a pretty sight. How about this, folks? How about this? Let's go to Missouri. 4 inches? No way. That's not happening. Up to 4 inches of sleet. You better hope this is a liar, pants on fire on this, because that is a lot of sleet. And then south of that, there is your freezing rain. Right down there, freezing rain, sleet, and then your snowfall totals will form to the north. And again, right down here, you do get some snow, but again, freezing rain and sleet always come first with this storm. Though they're the top priority, apparently, to the system. Then up to the north here, it's mainly going to be in the form of snow, and that's where you get your up to a foot or less of snowfall. Can we see Virginia, please? Yes. A lot of people watching in Virginia as well. Hey, Virginia people. Hey, Virginias. Let's go over to the east. So in Virginia, on the GFS model, it is showing 6 to 12 inches. But again, depending on what model you look at, here's your deterministic. Euro is a lot further south, and this is just coming in right now. It is rendering as we speak. And right now in Virginia, is there even a There's a Maryland, which should cover Virginia pretty nicely. Yeah, there we go. So this is still rendering. So the snowfall totals, I believe. Yeah, they're still coming through the model right now. So we're still getting accumulation here, and we'll see where this adds up to at the end of the run. Yeah, see, here comes another swaft. Probably I'm thinking about that 6 to 12 inch mark, still a guarantee. But interesting, when we look at Virginia here and our snowfall totals, Euro has it south, GFS has it much further north. So there is still some discrepancy here with the GFS, between the GFS, the American model, and the Euro side of things. So let's just see where the GFS goes. Does the Euro lean onto the GFS? That is to be announced. Looks like our GFS in the last couple of runs has shifted south, but let's see what our Euro has done in this run, and it has stayed the same. So maybe the GFS is latching onto the Euro model. But yeah, we got more additional accumulation here, and it looks like this is a lot less intense. Yeah, it is a lot less intense here over southern Maryland, but still looking at about a foot of snow or less. In Mount Pleasant. So Mount Pleasant, Texas could get snow next week. Let's look at that. Look at that. So Mount Pleasant, Texas could get snow. It could, and I say could, and I don't want to sound like I don't know anything, because that storm, again, there's wiggle room. It's like a worm, and it's wiggling around in the modeling, and until we get consistency here, we are not going to give you an exact amount. But right now, probably about a dusting, maybe up to an inch of snow for Mount Pleasant, Texas at the moment. Thank you, Kitty, for that $2 donation. Thank you, Landon, for the $1 donation. If you guys want to show extra support, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can see it right down there at David Schlotthauer with the handle. And you could follow me at Weather United 1. I have not been doing much on X. I am sorry. I am not doing much on Facebook either. I'm sorry about that. Well, that's more of my localized aspect of things. But yeah, please subscribe if you haven't already. If you subscribe, you get a cookie. You guys will laugh at me. Laugh now. Laugh. Dagnabbit. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Kevin. Woohoo! Good job. I won't have to whack you. Titan the moon. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. I need a cookie, please. I'll show you something. Wait. Yeah, I'll be right back. Guess what I have? You wouldn't guess. The cookie. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. It's time to have some fun, you know? Ask questions and everything. I'm not going to eat a cookie on stream, though. It's more of a teaser for a lot of you. Bro is the one who stole from the cookie jar. No. I'm not going to eat all of them, okay? I promise. I'm making brownies. Ooh, yummy. Did my grandma make these? I don't... I think these are from, I don't know. They've been sitting there. They've been sitting there for about a month and a half. So I'm not eating them. Yeah, they've been literally sitting on the counter for a month and a half. Okay, sorry. I'm just in my. We are going to extend that. Don't worry. We'll extend that. Okay, so because the Euro model is coming in and we are. Let's see the freezing rain amount. So Nashville, Tennessee, you're going to mainly get in the form of a little bit of freezing rain, but mainly a rain event for Tennessee. For Nashville, Tennessee. For Knoxville, Tennessee, mainly a rain event, maybe some snow in the mix there in the backside of the system. If you're in, say, I just said Nashville. Oh my gosh, there's too many cities. Memphis, Tennessee is what I'm looking for. That's where you're going to mainly get some rain. Thank you, Daniel West. I'm going to poison you? No, I'm not going to poison you. Well, actually, I could poison myself. That's a parody, folks. It's a parody. No, these cookies are not a month old. They're like a few days old. Because they'll probably be moldy in the bag already. Okay, so yeah. Our model's still moving south. They're wiggling around. They're wiggling around at the moment. Right now, let's go and look at the central. So if we look at the 0Z run, right now, I look at from last night's run overall, and this has moved a teeny bit to the south in terms of the snow accumulation. It looks like it trended north recently, but on an overall spectral, it hasn't really moved from day to day with the amount of freezing or with the amount of snow. And then when we look at our freezing rain, let's take a look at that. Okay, that has not moved around very much, and the Euro still being bullish. Still being bullish on the ice amounts. Not as bullish as it was this morning, but still pretty concerning with the amount of ice that could accumulate here on the order of about a quarter of an inch to about half an inch to maybe about 0.6 of an inch. And yes, Chase I shouldn't say your last name, but Chase, that storm for the middle of next week, still in question, all right? Still in question. It's wobbling around. You could get a cold rain or get some snow or some freezing rain. We're still working out the details on that. I didn't miss your super chat, did I? If it tracks more south, more snow, Rock Hill, Missouri. I didn't miss your super chat. I just got to it. So I did. That was part of the question. Just because I don't say someone's name doesn't mean I didn't get to your question. So if it does move a little south, some other areas could get impacted by the snow and freezing rain. But if this trends a little further north, it could be a little different. So right now, if it tracks more south, more snow, Rock Hill, Missouri. Let's go to Rock Hill, Missouri. I am so sorry if I didn't say your name. Yeah. So Rock Hill, Missouri. Let's go down here. Oh, that's in the metropolitan area. So you're in the mixed bag here of both. So you're going to get some snow. But if it does trend further south, more snow in general, yes, is how it would work, because that means you get snow longer than getting the annoying freezing rain or sleet that could come with this storm. Right now, it looks like you're going to get more of a sleet and freezing rain than more of a snow. You're just going to get a bit of everything. Sorry about that, Landon. Sorry. Okay, Icing, Evansville, Indiana. Okay, let's get to that. I'm going to try to get through all these questions as quickly as we can. I am so sorry. The cookie thing kind of threw me off a little bit. So southern Indiana could get about 1/4 of an inch to maybe a 1/2 an inch of ice. On top of that, you might get about 3 to 5 inches of snow. Okay, so some snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Are we going to snow this week? Abilene, Texas. You're referring to the midweek storm. So there is still questions about that on how models handle that. If you do get any snow, you might get about 1 inch or 2 of snowfall. So it's not going to be a whole lot that you're going to be seeing with that. Snow amount 30 miles north of Evansville. So that would, again, in the range of about 3 to 6 inches. Now, if you just look at the GFS, it's going to have snow amounts further to the north. But if we look at basically the Euro, it's going to have more snowfall, and that's what we're seeing here, up to about 7 or 8 inches of snow in Evansville, Indiana. It just depends on what model we look at. But I want to really make it clear for those people that are watching that are in the path of this, please make sure you get gas for your generator now or through tomorrow. Because I'm telling you right now, you're in trouble. You're going to be in some serious trouble if you don't do it in time. Because if we look at our convective allowing models, we're just going to use the NAM 3 kilometer. Let's use our composite reflectivity forecast. This helps out a lot. And let's take a look at this, because I wanted to show you all this. So if we go to the next 32 hours, oh wait, no, this is not going to be helpful. I wish it would give me, oh yeah, precipitation type. Yeah, you better give me that option. So this is tomorrow. No, wait, this is Monday morning. Wait. No, Sunday morning. So this is Sunday morning, about 2 or 3 in the morning. So you have until about Saturday night. If you're in central Missouri, if you're in Kentucky, you have until about 8, about say 10, about 6 to 12 in the 6 to 11 in the morning, 6 a.m. through 11 in the morning to get ready, because once that freezing rain comes in, it is going to be pretty hard. And I'll tell you, look at this right here. This is some pretty heavy, intense freezing rain that comes through here. I should have actually, when I did my presentation, I should have done it this way instead of using just the whole entire pivotal weather, because this is actually more interactive. Don't know what I was thinking. David, is Tennessee in trouble? Tennessee, northern Tennessee could be in for a testimony of some ice, but mainly a rain event for that area. And then the backside of this, you get some colder air. And that's where you're going to get the snow that's going to come on down. But the wind is going to be the big problem with this. I didn't even bother showing the wind. If there is even a tab to show the wind. Of course there's not. Man, they need to add more layers to this. We're going to use low-level winds in general. That kind of translates down to the surface. Hold on, it's loading. It's taking its own sweet time. So as far as the wind goes, though, the wind is going to be something else too, especially in the on the back side of this. You're going to have some intense winds, and the low-level winds too over Tennessee could be a little on the stronger side. Actually, some of these areas could have winds at 5,000 feet that do approach 80 knots. So that is a really strong low-level jet that is going to rip itself through the Tennessee Valley. All right, how much ice are we looking at in Louisville? Man, I always say Louisville. Maybe it is Louisville, either way. Let me see. This actually does give me ice accumulation. So if we just use ice accretion in Louisville, I would say about 2/10 of an inch, maybe up to about 3/10 of an inch of ice. Louisville. Okay, it is Louisville. I got it. Hey, see, there's an IS at the end, so it's like Louisville. So it's Louisville. And they're, yeah. So when you look at the accretion, though, that's one thing. But if we look at the QPF for specific amounts, that's when it could be a little bit higher, possibly 1/2 inch. Man, look at this one area. Who wants to live right here? That's 1.7 inches of ice. Look at all that ice right there. That could be a really... That's destructive. That is destructive for sure. And then 8/10 of an inch, even with ice accretion. So that would be something to really monitor in future model runs. Thank you, Kristen. Hey, David, I missed it. How much combined for tri-state New York City? So you're in the New York area. Hold on, it's loading. Give it time. Our CAMS models don't go out that far. So this is going to be through the next 3 or 4 days. New York may not get much, actually. Now looks like maybe an inch on the Euro, maybe a little more. So, yeah, but right now, New York does not look to get hardly anything. Thank you, Terry, for subscribing. I do appreciate the subscription, folks. Man, I am loving this. I do appreciate your guys' support. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Saturday? Man, it feels like Sunday. It feels like Sunday, but it's not. But I have to get up really early in the morning for an 8-hour workday tomorrow. So that means tomorrow there's not going to be a video. Instead, I will be live streaming in replacement of that. Just one content piece tomorrow. But I am going to let you all know, okay? I'm not doing this for views. I'm not doing this for subscribers, but I am on a tangent. I am on a tangent to upload every single slippin' freaking day of the week and of the month. So you're probably going to start seeing every video out, okay? Every single video out this year, 2025. I'm on a tangent of seeing how many videos I could upload in a single year. I'm predicting I may push at least 400 or 500 videos out this year. So, yeah. How much for Butler, Pennsylvania? So if you guys get a lot of notifications every single day, don't unsubscribe just because, oh my gosh, it's annoying that David's uploading every day. I'm on this tangent, and that's been kind of my goal. That's been kind of my resolution that, hey, I want to just see how many videos I can get out each this year in general. So Butler, Pennsylvania is going to get about 1 to 4 inches of snow. So yeah, if you have not ring the bell notification icon yet, I would really highly recommend doing so because there will be something on my channel. And here's my question to you all. Does live streaming count as a video content piece? Does it count? Thank you, Kristen. Chat Newt, I thought you said Terahute. Thank you for subscribing, Matthew. Again, don't subscribe just because I upload every day. Like, honestly, if you guys really like the content and everything, you like the work, you like the detail, you like me answering your guys' questions, come on in and subscribe if you wish. All right. I don't want to pressure people into like, oh, you got to subscribe or else, you know. Okay. I'm not here for the subs. I'm not here for the views. I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for virtually any of those things. I'm here just to track the weather for you guys because, yeah, this excites me. I'm not excited that people are going to be devastated by this, but I'm excited about the dynamics, about how these systems evolve. It keeps my energy up. It just keeps me going. And this could be enough for my adrenaline to stay pumping. So even so I don't sleep very much tonight, which I really hope I do, I hopefully won't be that tired at all by the end of the day, because if I am, then I lost myself. So, ding, ding, thank you so much. So for Chatnut, yeah, that is correct for Kansas, 2 to 4 inches of snowfall in that area. And want to emphasize also some freezing rain. Yeah, you're going to have some ice problems too. Don't miss the Dover, Delaware question. Okay, yeah, Dover, Delaware is going to get mainly a lot of snow out of this. There's not much in the way of freezing rain concerns at the moment with that area. I would say about 5 to 8 inches of snow is in the general ballpark at the moment of how much snowfall you're going to get. The Euro, a little bit more aggressive in that aspect though, okay? The Euro's a little more on the Euro. It's doing what Euro things like to do. Okay, so, but yeah, you're going to get snow in Delaware. And it's interesting, Delaware is such a tiny state. You don't see it. You can't even see it this far out. Oh my gosh, you can't even see it. Hey, Cassie! Your name turned white. It's not green anymore. I remember your name was green. Maybe your membership ended already. I guess YouTube doesn't do automatic renewing of that, huh? I have not been a member of anyone's channel. I don't know how that even works. So, is Mooresville, Indiana still in the path? So Mooresville, Indiana, let's go to that. So Mooresville, Indiana. Okay, so there we go. Man, my brain is just, whoop, it just did that. So Mooresville, Indiana, you're going to get about, on the GFS. Now, I want to emphasize this is the GFS. The Euro is a lot less aggressive on this. I am giving a 6 to 12 inch range for Mooresville, Indiana. All right, so that's kind of your general area, and excuse me. That's probably why they have not issued winter storm warnings for that area, because there's that confidence problem. Hey, there's a dense fog advisory. Maybe that's what I got alerted to right there. Little itty bitty dense fog advisory right there in my area. Matthew W., thank you for the $10 donation. Thank you for letting me know about Butler, Pennsylvania. You're very welcome, bud. I hope you're safe, because Butler, Pennsylvania is going to get some snow out of this. Please drive safe. If you encounter wintry weather, just watch your speeds. Actually, today I was in the parking lot because I went to Starbucks to get some work done today. No, not work at Safeway, but not. Did I even see where I worked? Oh my gosh. At the grocery store, but I had some work with YouTube today, and a car decided, let's drive fast in the parking lot in the wet weather. I literally almost got hit by a car today. Almost got hit. I'm like, dude, slow the F down. You're in the parking lot. I'm like, God, idiots. I mean, please slow down. Don't kill me. I mean, I don't even drive that fast. I will admit, though, I took off. Well, I knew what I was doing, though, but I literally tried to outrun a yellow light before it turned red, and I literally made my tires squeak when I made a turn into the driveway. So I admit I kind of drove crazy there, but sometimes we have to do that. But like this guy was going like, stop driving fast. St. Croix, Indiana. I was going to say, if it's St. Croix down there in the deep tropics, we're not doing deep tropics. So St. Croix in southern Indiana, you're going to be getting about, on the rough range of about 5 to 8 inches of snow, maybe up to about 10 inches, because we're kind of combining the Euro and the GFS together. So that rough range of about that 5 to 10 inch. But I want to make it clear, okay, because I see you're disabled here. Feel bad for you, by the way. Hopefully everything's all right. You're going to get some ice, and that's going to be the problem. So if you're in a wheelchair, don't even try making a run for the sidewalks, because those sidewalks will be very, 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 very hazardous for your wheelchair, or if you have a walker, or if you have a cane, you're going to just go slipping and sliding. So please be careful, okay? All right, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oh, it's up here. Oh my gosh. My brain. Okay. So Tulsa, Oklahoma, not going to get snow. You're probably only going to get about 1/4 of an inch of rainfall out of this. Ice accumulations, let's take a look at that. You're not going to get ice either. So it's just going to be a kind of a light, gentle rain for your area with mild temperatures. And then the cold air comes in on the backside. Muncie. I think that's how you say it. Yeah. Muncie, Indiana. Yeah, Muncie. Yeah, that's I said it correctly. You're going to get snow for the Muncie, Indiana area on the range of about 6 to maybe 10 inches of snow in that area. 6 to 10 inches. I promise to be careful. Thank you for everything. You're very welcome, Kim. And Cassie D, I missed. Okay, Kim Owens, yeah. Thank you for the 2. Got to that. And Cassie D says, I wonder why. Yeah, I'm not sure why that subscription ended for you. I hope you're still here watching. Don Broliel, Bros, how are you doing? And that's the snow that you're going to see. Middletown, Ohio. Love your channel, brother. God bless. Thank you. I try my best. Working two jobs. That's California for you. It's not easy. I do, and honestly, folks, I do want this to become my full-time job on YouTube, but the inflow of sales, okay, I do it based on sales and everything, pretty unstable. I need a more stable source of income. And that's not why I'm doing YouTube, of course, but like, partner program, that's how it works. What could Newport News see from this storm? So Newport News, that I don't know who named a city like that, but Newport News. I mean, that's one of the weirdest city names in the entire country. Newport News might get up to an inch of snow. The Euro being a little bit more bullish on the snowfall totals in that area. I would say on the order of about 2 to 5 inches of snow is expected in that area. No ice, though, however, maybe a little bit of ice. Maybe 1/10 of an inch or less. But most of your ice is going to be well off to the west. What about Cape Garadiel in Missouri? Man, all these weird names. I mean, golly word, all these town names, city names. Oh, that's right along the river. That's one of the reasons why. So that area, I hope you like ice skating. I hope you're loving the ice skating there because you're about to ice skate on some sidewalks. Because you're going to be dealing with ice, maybe up to 1/4 of an inch, maybe up to even 3/10 of an inch. There is going to be ice problems there for sure. And across the southeastern Missouri area. And again, if we go back to the map to simplify this a little bit more, I am really, really concerned about this area right in here specifically. Right here. I'm circling this in black for a reason. This is going to be the area that we could see. I am not kidding. We could see up to 3/4 of an inch of ice. More than 1/2 an inch in many areas. Isolated totals could surpass 1/2 an inch, maybe 6/10 of an inch. In most extreme cases, we could see up to almost 3/4 of an inch. That will be enough to lead to long duration power outages. And see these big eyes? I'm being serious. Could last up to several days. So I hope you have your generator ready. I hope you're ready to see and hear trees come down and crackle. And then, boom, your power goes out. And once it goes out, expect it to be out for a while. Snowstorm. So Dennis Blid said that. So let's go over to there. Yeah, southern Iowa, you're going to get snow. Yeah, you're going to get some snow, about 3 to 7 inches in that area. Baltimore. So Baltimore is all the way over here. So Baltimore, Maryland, about that 6 to 12 inch mark is what you're expecting to see. Dalton, what's the range of snow that Etna, Ohio could get? So that's up there in central-ish Ohio. So let's go over there. You're going to see about 6 to about 5 to 8 inches. About 5 to 8 inches, maybe a little more. What about Columbus, Missouri? Or, oh my gosh, Columbia, Missouri. So Columbia, Missouri could get about, I would say about 6 to almost 11 or so inches. But reminder, ice comes first. You're going to get snow, then ice. Hey, David, can I come on for a second? Sure. Which, by the way, you all, Pat's Path Predictor is going to school for meteorology. Can't wait for him to get his degree in meteorology. So we are going to have him join for a bit. That's all I'm going to have on the stream, okay? I don't want to have like 10 people here at all, okay? So, hey, Pat, how are you? Ooh, this ice storm. I'm telling you right now. I am telling you. Hold on. Why can't... Hold on. They can't even hear you. What in the heck? Can you try... Talk... Okay, hold on. I'll tell you when to talk. Hold on. No, hold on. Try talking.
Is this thing on? One in the chat, this thing's on.
Try again, talk. Nope. It's not going through. Talk again.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. It's working.
All right, perfect. All right, I just want to say a couple things. If you guys can hear me, since I am in the area that's going to get impacted by this, I'm actually around the St. Louis area.
Ooh, boy.
Number one, do not trust the GFS. Not the GFS, sorry. the NAM. Do not trust the NAM. I would not recommend using that or the NAM nest. It's overdoing the amount of sleet and the amount of freezing rain. I looked at the inversions, I've looked at the upper airs, and compared to all the other runs I have seen, it's way overdoing it. For example, and John sent this to me, actually, I'm talking to him right now. The Her sounding he was able to pull up has an inversion that starts at the surface at 23 degrees Fahrenheit. This is west of St. Louis. It gets up to about around 800 millibars or so. It gets up to about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but nothing further than that. The NAM wants it to get up to 33 or 34, and none of the other runs are indicating that. So do not use the NAM. That's what I will say. It's overdoing this amount of sleet and the amount of snow. That's the first thing. Second thing I am very concerned about is the increase in ice that both the NWS and the models have picked up on. But I just want to make something absolutely clear. I know some of the runs earlier, like the GFS, had 2 inches of ice falling in the in southern Illinois. I do not trust that at all. If 2 inches of ice fell in southern Illinois, that would be quite historic. Personally,
it would not be historic. It would be cataclysmic. It would be literally,
absolutely,
yeah. Absolutely. That's not happening.
Yeah, that's absolutely not going to happen. I'm thinking right now a half an inch is going to happen, maybe 3/4 of an inch in some isolated areas in southern Missouri, southern Illinois, even into Kentucky and Indiana, based on what the NWS is forecasting and based on the realistic returns I am getting from the models.
However,
and someone is asking, go ahead.
However, you might want to look at the wait, is this 0Z EPS in? It is coming in. Oh my gosh. You might want to look at the EPS. Well, you can look at my stream here. I don't believe this because this is QPF. This is not on the Freza, Freza accumulation numerical output. But it is showing, again, this is on all 51 different members that run the Euro Ensemble forecast for Central Kentucky, have actually upped the totals a little bit to up to about an inch of freezing rain here. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to get up to an inch of freezing rain, folks. That's not what we're telling you. But the confidence that there could be up to at least a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice seems very, very possible, very almost certainly likely at this time. Significant icing, especially in the central portion of Kentucky, perhaps even well into southern Illinois and even into southeastern Missouri. I mean, even the Euro ensembles picking up 3/4 of an inch. Now, as what Pat is saying, that 2 inches of ice, not going to happen. And the HRRR and the NAM, these high-resolution CAMS guidance, which stand for Convective Allowing Model, it's an acronym, CAMS means that. They're going to show 2 inches of ice. They're going to show 3 inches of ice sometimes. Do not trust that because it's showing a convective thunder freezing rain shower that may mess with temperatures a little bit, temperature profiles, and it may freak out a little bit. I would stick to ensembles, chances of seeing this amount of ice, and most importantly, stick to the national blended models because that's what the National Weather Service uses. Even so, that has come up a little bit. I'm seeing up to a half an inch in some areas. This could go up a little bit more as as confidence increases, both from the GFS and the Euro and the Canadian. Let's see if the Canadian has anything. The GDPS model.
Yeah,
the GDPS. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. The GDPS in southeastern Missouri is pretty aggressive still. On the Freza amounts, about 3/4 of an inch, still getting awfully close to an inch in central Kentucky. So both the GDPS, the GFS, and the Euro really, really, again, in this narrow zone that stretches all the way from eastern Kentucky all the way into southeastern Missouri, this whole area that I've circled in, again, up to a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Enough to wipe out utility equipment. We could be looking at widespread, long duration power outages. I mean, something that lasts for more than just a few days, possibly a week, because temperatures, by the way, behind this system, Pat, will drop into the single digits at night.
1000%, yes, and that's a very big concern, especially in the areas that are getting ice, because your power is going to be down. You're not going to be able to travel because ice has literally no friction to it. We learned about this in high school physics or even middle school science class. Ice has no friction attached to it, and you can't drive in it. You can't travel in it. Don't even attempt to do that. You're going to cause a lot of accidents. But another thing I want to bring up is these models also don't take into account latent heat release, where the initial ice, freezing rain or sleet is going to drop, and then it's going to end up melting the area around it, and allowing for the temperature above it to get cooler a little bit. It's not going to be by very much usually, unless it's like a very heavy freezing rain or sleet event. But it's enough to kind of soften the ground up before as ice and sleet starts accumulating on the ground. So those 1-inch ice totals that you're seeing on the models, I would cut that down by maybe 25%, but that's still a very catastrophic situation. But it's not. But those 1-inch totals, I don't exactly see happening unless in very isolated spots in Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, and those areas as well. But even if you subtract that by even 50%, it's still a very bad situation. So I figured I wanted to bring that up to your attention as well, David.
Yeah, and since Pat's in here, I want to emphasize to people, we usually talk about a winter storm and it's all about the snow totals. Yes, we're going to get possibly a foot, and we talked about this at the beginning of the live stream, how we went over all the models, and they're showing about between 6 to 12 inches. Now, you know who I'm talking about, Pat, a YouTuber. Don't say his name.
We're not saying his name.
Yeah.
He who must not be named. It's like Voldemort.
Yeah, there are a couple of YouTubers out there that do not use the 10-in-1 ratio, and they're showing ballistic numbers, like maybe a couple of feet of snow. Yeah, right, that's going to happen. Yeah, tell me if that's going to happen, Pat, because it's not. But on the side note of that,
I will tell you this right now. We talked about this on stream last night on my stream, David. I think the 20-inch range that we're seeing in Kansas, Missouri, and even in northeastern Missouri and in parts of Illinois, that's quite a bit exaggerated, and it doesn't take into account snow compacting at that much snowfall. So if you see 20 inches of snow, question it. Don't trust it. Personally, I'm thinking at the most you could see potentially 18 inches of snow in Kansas and parts of Missouri as well, like western Missouri. But that's on the very high end. I'm thinking a foot swath through much of the Midwest is plausible north of the rain ice line. That's my personal take.
And
I think the models are overdoing it.
Well, not that models are overdoing it. It's what these people use. Kachira versus 10-in-1 ratio. This is a wet snow. This is the 10-in-1, 15-in-1 ratio totals that we're dealing with. So about 6 to 12 inches, maybe plus or minus a few inches from that. So maybe up to 15 inches in a few isolated areas, but more so a foot or less with this. That's not the big talk about this winter storm, really, that people might think that, oh, it's a lot of snow that's coming. No, it's
the
not.
Freezing rain part. That's the problem.
It is the freezing rain. It is the sleet problem that is going to make a lot of headlines, because snow doesn't cause a lot of power outages usually. Freezing rain does. So does sleet if it accumulates, and it kind of stacks in one little area in some of these little pockets. It could put a lot of weight down, like on roofs and stuff.
Yeah, I will tell you that snow can cause power outages, but under some very specific conditions. Like, for example, like if you're going to see wind gusts of like 30 miles per hour or so, that increases your risk especially in areas like south of I know you were talking about that Cape city in Missouri. That's Cape Girardeau, by the way. That's how it's pronounced. I'm from St. Louis, so it's pretty easy for me to pronounce that. But yeah, Cape Girardeau, like areas south of there, areas south of Farmington as well. That's like that. That kind of wind can definitely knock down your power grid, especially for those areas that are not prepared for this type of storm.
And we do have live cameras on this too, which is great. Hopefully the cameras stay up and running. So we will be live on this winter storm. Most likely tomorrow night, we'll probably do a 4 or 5 hour coverage on this because this is significant enough to allow that. And we will have to see if we get any power flashes, which would indicate power lines coming down, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
maybe a light show in itself.
Yeah, for sure. And there's the possibility of thunder snow John and I have been talking about behind the scenes.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, that's crazy. Thunder snow?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, there's instability in the atmosphere. We're seeing CAPE levels in the hundreds of joules per kilogram, as well as SRH values around 600 between 1 and 3 kilometers. Actually, no, I just misread that. We have a little bit of instability, like 16 joules per kilogram of CAPE, but we have a lot of SRH, and we have decent instability to allow for thundersnow to potentially happen. So I apologize for that. I'm glad I could make that correction.
Yeah. Also, someone was asking you. This is from Landon. What are your thoughts about the snowfall accumulations in the St. Louis metro area?
All right, I can quickly answer that. It all depends on where the rain sleet line develops. In my opinion, as of right now, I actually watched local coverage about this. Shout out to Steve Templeton, Scott Connell, by the way. You guys are absolutely great meteorologists. So what I'm thinking in their runs that I watched is the rain sleet line stays south of St. Louis City, like areas in southern St. Louis County and areas like in areas further to the south of that. Let me see this real quickly. That's where it would develop right there, and then it would mainly stay out of St. Louis according to their futurecast runs that they have, and that's based on a blend of models. They throw it in they use an aggregate of it to form their own conclusion on that. And I will tell you, if the sleet line stays south of St. Louis and stays south of the St. Louis metro, I can definitely see a foot of snow from this easily, in my opinion. Now, if it gets a little bit closer, say maybe St. Louis gets a few hours of sleet from this, you're going to probably see those snow totals go down to about 6 to 10 inches, 6 to 9 or so. I know areas just to the north of that from the NWS graphic that they have pulled up are wanting 7 to 10, and that's taking into account the sleet as well, 7 to 11 actually, and that's taking into account the sleet. So there's that. There's also freezing rain. That's also a bit of an issue, but ultimately it depends on where the rain freezing sleet line Landon falls on. And I think a foot of snow is absolutely possible with this if that line stays south of the St. Louis metro. That's my opinion.
And that's the tricky part. Where exactly does that set up? Because someone's going to get a spanking. And that not literally in chat, but like someone's gonna get a lot of freezing rain. And where is that gonna be? Is it gonna be in St. Louis, or is that gonna be just to the south? We'll see in future model runs, but I'll tell you, St. Louis, sleet, freeze. Yeah, on this model, lots of sleet and freezing rain. Very aggressive as what
David,
Pat was.
The NAM.
Yeah, I'm looking at the NAM. I understand it, but like if we do base it off of this, that's what we have to consider. If we look at the GFS though, it's going to be a whole lot different.
Yeah, it's going to be different. And the reason I don't like the NAM is because I talked about this when I first got on here. It's overdoing the inversion compared to all the other runs I've noticed
Also,
to a
though, the
ridiculous
GFS is
degree.
showing a similar setup, though, over St. Louis, where
Oh,
it
yeah.
does have a lot of sleet. It does show like 1 to 3 inches of sleet. And the Canadian is
Yeah.
showing the same thing. The Canadian and GFS are showing the same thing.
Yeah, that's
So,
interesting. Yeah, I'm
like,
looking at
if
that as
you
well.
go and look at the Canadian and the GFS, I mean, I'm gonna show my viewers this so you can see it along with me. It is showing the same thing. I mean, let me go over to the winter and sleet totals. There's your Canadian GDPS model right there. And let me go into the Ohio Valley so it's a closer zoomed in view. Similar area, both from the GFS and the Canadian. So the fact that the 3 kilometer NAM, okay, yeah, 6 inches, not going to happen, but the sleet coverage is a little bit concerning, especially in that same area. So there are going to be a lot of sleet problems in St. Louis, and it's been showing that over the last 3 model runs, Pat. In fact,
Yep.
over pretty much over the last 4 model runs, it's been showing a lot of sleet in that area.
Yeah, and that's absolutely what I do not want to hear. And for quick disclosure as well, classes for my school start on Wednesday.
Ooh, boy.
The halls, like the dorms in my apartment complex opens tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Sunday. But because St. Louis is gonna, because I live near St. Louis and that huge storm is happening, not to mention the ice with it as well. I actually am leaving tomorrow to get there early so I can do that, which, by the way, if you are traveling, do it tomorrow. Don't do it Sunday. If you are anywhere on the I-70 corridor west of Indianapolis, that is, like, I talked to several meteorologists about it. I talked to John about it. I've talked to Brendan about it. I've talked to a lot of my guys at Storms United about it. If you are west of Indianapolis and you have to travel, do it Saturday. Do not wait till Sunday. It'll be too dangerous to travel at that point.
Oh gosh, yes, certainly. All day Sunday. I'm just putting it out there. All day Sunday, no travel day.
Yeah, for St. Louis, do not travel after midnight on Saturday. Midnight's Saturday night, but Sunday at midnight. You get the general idea. Do not travel after that. That's when the storm's going to hit. So, yeah.
Holy cow, this thing. Oh my gosh. This thing
Yeah.
is freaking a Democrypt winter storm. I'm telling you right
Yeah,
now. It's
that's for sure. That's for sure. And another thing, David, is this is a very unusual type of system because normally you would have a rain snow line associated with it with a little bit of freezing rain and sleet mixed into it. This storm, you have a snow ice line where you have a lot of freezing rain and sleet associated with it compared to rain. And we haven't even talked about the rain part of it with the severe weather, which I feel like is overshadowed just a little bit. But I will emphasize this very quickly. The main threat, if you're in the deep south watching this, is going to be wind, mainly because the storms are going to develop along that cold front. It's going to quickly become quasi-linear. It's going to turn to a massive squall line, and winds are going to be the main threat.
yeah, I think right now my prediction is about maybe a 30 sig for damaging winds. Maybe a 30
I can see
non-sig for
that.
damaging winds is what I'm thinking. So if they do
I
go
think
in
they go enhanced.
what?
I think they go enhanced with it,
Oh,
but
they're
for
gonna
wind.
go. I think they will go enhanced, but it's gonna be wind driven, not tornado driven, because of how linear. Which, by the way, I wanted to show you all that. Right here is look how linear that thing is. So linear. Maybe a semi-discrete storm right out ahead of it, but like it is going to be quite the linear setup. Maybe early on, actually, on Sunday, we may get some semi-discrete briefly, then it just grows upscale into a organized MCS. It's going to really be that ice the ice storm. This has everything though, Pat, though. Snow, ice, sleet, severe weather. It's the storm that has everything.
It, yeah, it does. It's the storm that keeps on delivering, and you're gonna need to watch this very closely. Um, let's see, very closely. I will say I'm looking at the latest track of it right now. One thing I am curious about is how this is going to develop on as it moves through Colorado, as it moves through the Rocky Mountains tomorrow. And the reason I am bringing that up is because if it develops further to the south than these models are indicating right here, like say it forms in southern Colorado, northeastern New Mexico or so, and then it moves through central Oklahoma, that's going to put St. Louis and that's going to put Indianapolis and those areas out of the line of fire for freezing rain and sleet. But that's going to cause even worse problems for areas further south that are not used to these kinds of storms. On the other hand, if it develops further to the north, then it's going to cause even worse problems for multiple metropolitan areas, whether it's heavier snow, whether it is sleet, whether it is freezing rain. It's a whole trolley situation that we got to watch. And David is pulling up photos of what ice can do to power lines.
Yeah, that's basically what this is. This is what I think that's only like a quarter of an inch of ice on those power lines. And look at how much that look at all the icicles. So
Yep.
This is what a quarter of an inch, maybe half an inch of ice does to power lines. This is what you do not want to see, okay? I don't know where this is, of course, at, but this is one of those examples, and I'm going to bring up a few more images. This is another image. Oops, I didn't want to open it like that. Oh, wait, I did open the image. Here we go. So this is another image. I know this is kind of blurry, but you can see all the trees. Look at this tree fell on a car. And you can see how all these branches just kind of bend back like this. It's surprising. It really is how heavy ice weighs when it just piles up on, on a lot of stuff. And here's one more image showing you what ice does. Look at just everything, just trees down. And again, that's only about a quarter of an inch, maybe a half an inch of ice. And here's a good example here. This is an entire power utility pole almost ready to fall because of all that ice. So, yeah, it is going to be a big, big, big problem. It's amazing just how much, what that can do. And we're still waiting for the NWS to issue winter storm warnings for Kentucky, Southern Indiana, Ohio. They are not confident yet. They are not ready to hit the winter storm warning button.
Give them till the morning, and they'll do it. They're waiting for more data and more information to determine whether they are going to issue an ice storm warning or a winter storm warning. An ice storm warning is mainly for ice, and a winter storm warning is generally more snow-based. So I think that's what they're waiting on. Also, I don't think we've mentioned this too much. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore are going to be in the line of fire of this as well, further down the road.
Oh, yeah.
And I've talked to several friends about it. They're concerned about it, about flights and all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera. The models have been zeroing in quite surprisingly on Maryland, Delaware, Northern Virginia, parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I was talking to several people about it. And while it is early, I definitely could see 8 to 10 inches of snow for the DC region.
And my sister lives in Maryland, in central Maryland, so she's right in the line of fire.
Oh, yeah. Central Maryland is easily going to get a lot of snow from this.
Now, when we look at the freezing rain... No, wait, no, we're not going to use that. We're just going to use this. So you can see...
I would not use freezing rain because by the time the cyclone gets to Virginia, it's like the freezing rain line kind of starts to go in two directions. That inversion starts to weaken by the time it gets there. So it's either going to transition to snow or rain, and the northern parts is going to become mostly snow. Yeah, you're showing it right now. and the southern parts are going to be mostly rain.
Yeah.
It's still something important to watch, but I don't think we're going to see anything more than a quarter of an inch of ice for parts of Virginia, which is still bad, but not nearly as bad as what we were seeing in the Midwest.
Now, the timing of this. So, on the NAM 12 kilometer, again, that Monday morning commute is going to be pretty dicey. So, if you are an early riser, 4 in the morning, you commute as early as 4 in the morning, you're going to get snow, and it's going to be pretty intense. I don't even chance going to work at all on Monday. Even if you outrun the snow, you're probably not going to find yourself getting home very easy. So, take a 3-day weekend. Just take Monday off or work from home if you are able to work from home, because that snow, there could be a brief amount of sleet and freezing rain, just briefly, but mainly a snow to rain kind of thing. And then the backside rolls through. And it looks like on this model, we could be looking at a fairly robust, stormy, snowy day all day Monday before things calm down by Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning looks a lot better. All the roads, if they're not treated with salt, they could remain somewhat impassable due to some minor ice conditions along to go with a lot of the snow, though. We could see up to a foot in the Maryland, southern Maryland, central, northern Virginia area.
Yeah, that's for sure. And if you're in Maryland, expect school to be canceled on Monday. I know you guys are going back to school. Expect it to be canceled on Monday. That's just my opinion based on what I'm seeing right now.
Okay, what about Lawton? Lawton, probably Oklahoma you're referring to. So Lawton, Oklahoma, not going to get hardly anything because the system...
Oh, yeah, you're south of the rain-snow line.
Yeah, and Michigan going to miss most of the snow, at least with the storm itself, but lake effect snow will likely develop in the wake of that.
Yes.
If you're
in
in Lawton, Iowa, you might get a little bit of a dusting. Terre Haute, Indiana. So Terre Haute, Indiana is definitely going to get a lot of snow out of this, maybe some sleet briefly, as there is going to be that wintry-ish mix. So maybe some brief sleet, but mainly a snow event. How about Shelbyville?
Terre Haute is going to see more than 6 inches of snow from this.
What about Shelbyville, Indiana? Richard Haley is asking. So let's see that. So Shelbyville, Indiana. Definitely a lot of snowfall. Mainly a snow event for the Shelbyville area in Indianapolis. Huntington, West Virginia, please. So Huntington, West Virginia. By the way, for those that are just tuning in, please be sure you do subscribe if you are liking the content. Holy cow, it's almost 11 o'clock. I'm going to have to call it quits. I will give you guys a bonus 13 more minutes, and I am going to head off. Because I have to get up at 5 in the morning. And yeah, I have to get up at 5 in the morning, and it's almost 11 o'clock here, so I'm not going to get a whole lot of sleep tonight. And I have a long 9-hour workday tomorrow, and then I come home and live stream. I'm probably going to be up for more than 20 hours, so I do need the beauty sleep, definitely.
Yeah.
So this is for Huntington, right? So Huntington definitely going to get a lot of snow and some sleet in the mix. Definitely going to get some freezing rain as well with that. So power outages, certainly a big possibility in the Huntington, West Virginia area. Richmond, Virginia. So Richmond, Virginia is going to get some snow to begin with and may change over to some sleet as the system progresses through, and then maybe some freezing rain and then rain soon to come back over to snow in the backside, which, by the way, if you do get rain for any length of time and it puddles up, that flash freezes and turns into ice on the roadways, making traveling pretty hazardous. Snowfall totals for Central Ohio. Let's look for Central Ohio here. Definitely in the ballpark of about 6 to 12 inches in the Central Ohio area.
Yeah.
Can you help me answer these questions in the chat, Pat? Because we have
Yeah, I
more.
got you. I'm just taking care of something very quickly.
Thank you.
All right, Spotsville. Okay. My friend lives in Jacksonville, Illinois. Should he be worried? Jacksonville. Let me first pull up where Jacksonville is, and I can answer that
Yep,
question
I
real
see it.
quickly.
I got it.
Oh yeah, Jacksonville. You're gonna get a foot of snow from this, potentially. From
Yeah,
that.
you're mainly seeing an all snow event for sure.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, the good news is you're not going to see much ice from this, but the snow event, yeah, you're going to see that.
Boy, what a
So,
substantial storm. Man, I still cannot comprehend how significant this thing is actually going to be. Tomorrow at this time, we're going to be dealing with some ice that is going to be a problem in some areas. This thing is going to take off. How about
it definitely is.
Edwardsville, Illinois?
Oh, Edwardsville. Give me that one.
Okay.
Yeah, Edwardsville. It depends on the rain snow line for you. In my personal opinion, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches. But I think it's going to be closer to around, I'd say, 8 or so as of right now, as of the current stance of the rain snow line. But I will tell you this: I watched Scott Connell's coverage of it tonight, and based on what he was showing, that ice line stays just to the south of Edwardsville. So I would not be surprised if you see more. All right. Any more questions? Okay. There's some questions north of Richmond. Carbondale, Illinois. Carbondale, you're going to get Carbondale's in the freezing rain sleet area of the storm, as of the biggest threat. So that's where I'm seeing it right now. Let me check what they're saying. Yeah, you guys are under a winter storm watch at this current point in Carbondale. Yeah, I would wait and see, but I could definitely see at least a third of an inch of ice from for Carbondale. They're gonna be David. They're gonna be in the line of fire for a lot of the ice.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, I wanted to bring up another sounding before I kind of slowly close this out. Is that, so this is what your different precipitation types, for those that are just tuning in, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Because we're providing you some good detail here. So this is what it looks like. And this is, let me go over to where that sounding is. This is, I'll just pick Troy. So Troy, Missouri. This is what snow, actually, yeah, this is what sleet is going to look like because of your precipitation, because of your temperature profile. Take note of how quick these temperatures drop all the way down to maybe even 20 degrees. 20 degrees, and then they warm up, of course, at the surface a little bit through the dry adiabatic lapse rate. And this is a sleet sounding, so you can kind of get an idea. As you go further south, notice how your inversion, before it turns into mainly all rain. So like down here in southeastern Missouri, notice it's 44 degrees at 4,500 feet, and then it gets all the way down to 28 degrees at 2,200 feet, and that's how you get your freezing rain. So basically, it's all about that inversion. That's what Pat was talking about. So just to kind of recap on what we were talking about, why we're going to see what we're going to see is all because, again, of that, is all because of the inversion, what's getting involved in this weather system. And I want to be clear, ice accumulations could be catastrophic. Do you guys have a graph on the wind? You know what? That's the one thing I really didn't get into very much. So I am going to show
we
the
need
wind
to watch.
really
We need to look
quickly.
at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
No, I
all
have it.
stuff. Oh, you got it? Perfect.
Yeah, I got the wind map up. So the wind, actually, you know what? I'm going to use windy.com because that has an animated version and it's going to be perfect for this live stream. So we're going to use the HRRR for the wind forecast. We're going to look up. Yeah, this is a perfect layer. So when we go into tomorrow, this low deepens. So tomorrow night, the winds are going to be picking up on the backside. And look at how strong these actually get. Oh, wait, this is... Okay, come on, load. Let's not be a slowpoke here. So winds here sustained, especially over central Oklahoma, could be on the order of about 25 to 40 miles an hour with those wind gusts. Let's go to wind gust forecast. Possibly up to about 50 miles an hour as that backside rolls through and the system really tries to intensify. And like I mentioned, power outages will be a thing with the freezing rain on top of the wind because you're going to see strong winds with this. Perhaps out of the northeast that are strong enough, 10 to 15, maybe 20 miles an hour with those wind gusts that are up to about 25 to 30 miles an hour or so. That will be enough to bring down trees that are weighted by the ice. And then, of course, on the southern side where you get these MCS, this is where you have those wind gusts that could reach 45 to 60 miles an hour. This is a dynamic system by all means. This thing is going to be powerful. It is something to not mess with. This could cause or will more likely cause more than 500,000 people to be without power potentially.
Absolutely. And what are those wind gusts that you're in Kansas and Missouri? Just asking.
So Kansas and Missouri, they wrap all the way around, but in general, wind gusts between 30 to maybe 50 miles an hour, depending on the sector of the storm that they're in.
Okay. The reason I am asking is because if we're seeing wind gusts that high and the visibility drops below a quarter of a mile, those are blizzard conditions. And that is the last thing I'm sure many people want to hear right now, especially when some other person on the internet, we know who, keeps harping about it over and over again. But that's a real possibility of that happening. So at this current point, if those wind gusts are that high, especially 50 miles per hour, so I would not necessarily be surprised if some sort of blizzard warning goes into effect. Like, I would say they would probably have to jump the gun at like the last second as conditions start to arise. So I would not be surprised if that happens, but at the same time, wait for what's going on. So, okay. So I know someone earlier was asking about Quantico, Virginia, which is in Prince William County, I believe, in Virginia. I would not be surprised if you see 4 to 6, maybe even higher than 6 inches of snow from it. So, yeah. All right.
All right, get a 5-minute warning, folks. Ask your questions, because as much as I want to stay on, we will be live. At least we will be. So if I start live streaming, we will start this tomorrow. Let's see what time this storm really gets going. So if I start streaming at 5, yeah, if we start streaming this at around, say, what time do you guys want me to go live? It has to be after 5 p.m. Maybe even after 6, because I want to have dinner. I want to have time to relax before I go live. But what time do you guys want me to stream tomorrow evening in Pacific Standard Time? In Pacific Standard Time, PST. Okay. 8 p.m.
I know some are saying 8 o'clock or so. Is that in Central Time or is that in or
No,
in
it's
Pacific
in.
Time? Central Time. Yeah. No, I know you're saying Pacific Time. I'm asking the audience. Oh, you got a donation, by the way.
Thank you for the donation, the Earl of Dede. What do you think of Lexington, Kentucky? So, Lexington,
Oh,
Kentucky, you're toast. That's what it's called. It's going to be quite a bit. You're going to start off with some snow, transitioning right straight over to freezing rain and sleet. So, yeah, ice is your friend, my guy. Ice is going to be your best friend. So, a lot of people are saying 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. That's 5 p.m. my time. 8 p.m. Standard Time, yes, Central
at
Standard Time,
6
so that's
o'clock.
6 p.m. So I'll probably start, because I want to have dinner. I'm going to probably have to have dinner a little earlier, so we'll probably start at about 6 o'clock, at least by 6 o'clock. If needed, we may have to start earlier, but I'm going to go with 6 o'clock tomorrow, because that gives me at least 3 hours after I come home to relax and rest, maybe get in a quick power nap, and then go live, because we'll be live. We're going to be live until at least midnight. I can't stay up all night because I have church in the morning, because I go to church I have to be up for church at 6:30 in the morning, because I have to be there by 7:30 in the morning. Then after church, I have a birthday party that I'm attending to. So I have a birthday party that I'm going to. And then after that, I'm not going to get a whole lot of sleep over the next couple of days. So I need to see, every time I try to get onto a good bed schedule, it gets ruined because of this stinking storm.
Yeah, and I will tell you this. I have so many people at my university asking me since I go to the church there. Oh, Patrick, why don't you go to Seek? Oh, Patrick, why don't you do this? It's because some crazy weather event happens in the middle of it that I have to cover. So, yeah.
Whitesburg, Kentucky, someone is saying, thank you for the $2 donation. I appreciate that. And I do appreciate all the donations, folks. Almost $45 earned in this stream. So thank you guys for the support. I do. I mean, some of this money does go to the channel to invest money to upgrade equipment, but other things like some storm relief that might need to get involved with this, depending on how much damage it actually causes. Okay, so thank you guys for the donations, the support that you guys have done tonight. It's been a great night, so thank you guys for a lot of this. Makes me want to stream tomorrow too. And again, if we start at 5, we will be live until midnight. So that's like a 6 to 7 hour stream that I am going to be pulling off tomorrow on this masterpiece of a weenie wonky storm. Ugh, it's annoying.
Well, yeah, while it's great that you have all the support you have, David, someone asked about Whitesburg, Kentucky. That is near the Virginia Kentucky border in southeastern Kentucky. Whitesburg. It's a small town, about 1,700 people, but ultimately what I see from that is based on all the runs I've noticed. You're going to get snow early, then it's going to transition to freezing rain and sleet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, anyone living in Kentucky, you get snow first thing. Well, southeastern Kentucky, forget about it. You're not going to see snow at all. And then it's going to turn right over to freezing rain. Hey, there's Ryan Hall, y'all. Literally, we can literally see his camera. I wonder how you could get your camera uploaded here on Radar Omega. I want to try to see if I can get mine eventually up where I live.
We'll figure that out.
Later on, yeah.
But yeah, I know you got stuff to do, so I'm going to go ahead and get off so you can close the stream. But thank you for having me on, David.
You're very welcome, brother, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.
Yep, you too. I'll let you know when I get back to my school.
All right, sounds good.
All right, bye.
Bye. Yeah, so, yeah, that's Pat. Great guy, one of the best when it comes to hurricane tracking, winter storm tracking, and severe weather tracking. He has it all. He has it all, and he is a great guy. Go check out his channel after this. Pat's Path Predictor. He predicts and he predicts. Yeah, Ryan is also really good out there. I have to say, I like how Ryan Hall articulates his videos. He said, yeah, we're going to have to really, like, well, I'm being a little extreme on it, but, like, I like how he articulates a little bit. This ice is not going to be good, and I'll tell you what, if you're stuck out in there in it, it's going to be ugly. All right. But before I head out, I want to end with a couple of things. So stay here. Don't leave. Don't leave. If you leave, I'm going to slap you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, last question, because this is a donation. All right. Unless it's a donation, I'm going to ignore your guys' question, okay? Because that's the purpose of Super Chat. It highlights it. So Central and Southeastern Ohio will be getting a lot of the snow, mainly for the good duration of this storm. Southeastern Ohio, maybe some sleet and freezing rain in the mix of that, okay? Maybe transitioning over a little more than what the GFS is showing. All right, so that's that. Okay, but anyways, so much violence tonight, laughing out loud. Probably outside of this channel. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that part because that's not up my sleeve and I don't want to, shake things up. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys tuning in to tonight's live stream. It really means a lot. If you have not subscribed, I told you guys already a couple of times in this stream that I am going on a tangent of uploading every single stinking day. Rain or shine, what floats your hind, I'll be uploading. If that's from the iPad, if I'm away from my computer, we'll make it happen. If it has to be a live stream, we will make it happen. But expect content on this channel every single day. I'm going to try to commit to it and follow through with it. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I'm really, really hoping we can get uploads every single day this year. It's not about the views. It's not about the money. It's not about anything like that to get more subscribers. That I just want to see how many videos I can just produce in a year. I'm hoping I can get 400 out in 1 year, in the year 2025 here, or even 500 videos. I'm hoping and I'm hoping. All right, but anyways, you all, thank you guys for watching. Love you guys a lot, and I will be back with you with more on this winter storm later on today. If you're on the Eastern time zone already, it's already Saturday for you guys. Almost time for me to get up at that time. But I will be live. I have not decided on an exact time when I'm going to be live on this storm tomorrow, but it's going to be between 5 and maybe 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. More than likely it'll be earlier because I want to try to get in a 7 or 8 hour workday on YouTube, which is 7 streaming hours or maybe 8 streaming hours. If I start at 4 to midnight, that would be 8 hours. I don't think that's going to happen. I'll try to get at least 7 hours. Maybe we'll do 8 regardless, which means I would have to start streaming at 5 in the afternoon my time and go until like 1 in the morning, which would be I would be hard on my body. But I will have something out on the channel for sure tomorrow. That's going to be a live stream 100%. Once I get home from my primary job. All right. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell notification icon. If you don't ring the bell icon, I am going to slap you in the face. No, I'm not. I'm just joking. You're not going to get these cookies. If you want these cookies, you got to subscribe, share, and like. and also leave a comment in the section below this live stream once it becomes a DVR video recording. As always, have a great night, and talk to you guys later on today. Peace! I mean it. Peace.